you know, they're not open about it.
They need the gulag, man.
Yeah, they do. But yeah, maybe jogging alone late at night is not a good idea.
4:30 in the morning is like sus, dude.
Also, don't jog that. That's such a stupid thing to do. If you are, you better be fucking carrying.
So what would it take?
Yeah,
to
you
get
better
the
be
project
strapped.
back up and running.
You better be
Everything
fucking.
was in place when we were arrested.
The argument for like, if you're against guns, you should have a gun. Honestly, I think you're like, yeah, you should own a gun if you're against like using guns for like.
Dude, I think that some of
Murdering
the
innocent
demographics of people that are most anti-gun are the people that really just own guns in the first place.
Yeah. Like, if you like believe in all these things about like only qualified people should own guns, that means you probably could like should own one if you believe in it so strongly.
One sec. Let me get the door.
If you're a regular ass person, you should just be carrying.
You have the Reaper artifact just sitting here? Out in the open?
It's just a no-brainer in this day and
It
age.
showed me a vision of the Reaper's arrival.
Kenson, this is not good.
Give it a moment, Shepard.
Oh my
It'll
god,
give you
what the
proof
fuck?
you need.
Crane claims it's gone on a southern offensive.
Yeah, the war's going in some weird
I
directions.
can't let you start the project, Shepard. I can't let you stop the arrival.
You know it's going bad for Russia.
I wouldn't be
right
surprised if they just end up occupying Kherson and it ends up being like kind of an extenuation of the 2014-13 like occupation of East Ukraine, the Donbass. They might
not
get like
going good
minor
for
strategic
Russia.
gains. A lot of things aren't going good for Russia right now. You see that Putin just launched another fucking bureaucrat out of his
Yeah.
hospital window.
Well, here's the thing. In order to hold on to that region, the Russia needs to get supplies in, which is hard right now because most of the bridges.
They blew up both bridges to Kherson.
Yeah.
There's only two main bridges that could support like any kind of.
If the missile strikes keep continuing, Russia might literally not have a choice in holding the city for much longer, especially if this offensive is like actually going to pick up steam.
The thing about Russia's capabilities of maintaining any of that at this point is that like
They need artillery shells that keep coming in.
they have
If
shit they can't get.
If they can't get the shells to Kherson, they're going to be back in Ukraine hands.
There's
in,
no
like,
actual
a couple
infrastructure there, and then like on top of that, they do have like amphibious bridges they can launch, like the U.S. has. But like those are incredibly easy to destroy. They have already destroyed many of them.
In Kharkiv, they did like an ambitious amphibious crossing, and it like resulted in like dozens of destroyed vehicles from artillery.
Yeah,
because
I can't really imagine any of those, like, if they do any amphibious assaults like that, I can't imagine it ending in any other way than, like, disaster.
you need full, like, air and ground superiority to do those things. You're at your most vulnerable when you do that.
Yeah, because it takes large amount of ground forces just fucking hooking the shit up and setting it up.
And it's like shooting fish in a barrel for the enemy.
It's just hilarious to me that, like, they really haven't done anything since the 80s over there. It just shows how ambitious of a project the Soviet Union actually was. Not even just communism, but just, like, the actual, like, ability of the Soviet Union to compete with America compared to, like, the Russian Federation.
I mean, the USSR stood a better chance than Russia nowadays does by a long shot.
Yeah, because all of their technological and, like, military advancements basically ceased.
Came from other countries.
Well, yeah, because instead of doing what the US did, where they actually spent all their money on the military, they spent all their money on oligarchs.
Ukraine made a significant portion of the Soviet Union's weapons as well. Like, that was like a place where they made a lot of weapons, so...
It's funny. So you can directly
Russia-
draw back, like, even
Russia
NASA, basically
doesn't-
Sputnik caused NASA.
The Russia's so-called fortress economy really came from the other Soviet states.
Half of America's, like, most intense advancements during the 50s, 60s, 70s were literally just caused by their competition with the Soviets. We would have had no reason to go to the moon or anything.
The CIA are like, the Soviets came up with a new plane that beats ours, so it's like, okay, here's $59 billion to make a new super plane.
Yeah.
Hilarious. Dude.
And then that plane's like 20 years ahead of
Because
whatever
now
the Soviets made.
we're just giving out planes that are better than, like, the MiG-23s to, like, India and
Yeah,
shit.
no.
And look what that led to. Now we fly around the world, spreading quote-unquote democracy by
It's just a way more easily controllable version of, like, American imperialism.
They're just doing it.
You sell weapons and someone else pulls.
Beforehand, like, though, it's, like, less shock and all, like, military. It's more like just sowing our seed into all of their infrastructure and all of their, like, financial systems.
Ukraine can do with, like, hand-me-down U.S. shit. Look what they can do with that, with a small portion of it.
Look at what the Israeli can do with a couple secret ICBMs.
If the
if there were different subject altogether, they are their own, like, separate military installation that's, like, insanely powerful by themselves.
Yeah, but who put them in that situation?
We did, obviously.
Yeah.
Israel's America's.
The only one that's even competitive with us are our fucking dogs. And not with the AW.
After World War II, we literally set it up that way.
Yeah, and we supply our dogs so they can't bite the hand that feeds.
Like,
Quite frank, yeah.
We literally set it up so that we could basically be the Illuminati, right? Like, we're basically the shadow world government, right?
Yeah.
That's literally what happened. World War II.
The IMF and, like, all of the fucking shit we've given other states.
Like, people want to talk about conspiracy theories, bro. Just look at all the actual declassified documents of the CIA causing, like, disturbances in local governments and replacing people with puppet dictators and shit. Like,
yeah, El Salvador, Nicaragua, South Korea, fucking...
Yeah, and they're like...
all of these countries, dude.
Eats babies. It's like, no, your president just killed brown people.
We've been spotted.
Shepard's in the living quarters. Seal off project control.
El Salvador is wild right now, dude.
Yeah, it's just not.
This gang shit is fucking crazy.
It's getting like that all over the world, though.
This boot camp guy that runs the joint is, like, quite the fucking character.
Like, how does that make you feel now that we have, like, third world countries that have PMCs in there that are training militias? Like, this shit is
It's the same as it ever was.
yeah, it's just getting...
They will never turn on us, and they will love us forever.
I think the best is when we trained the most vicious drug gangs in Mexico.
Oh, we did that so that we have... Well, because the thing about American imperialism is that if we don't have an enemy to fight, then our empire will fall apart. So we have to manufacture our own enemies. We have to do this. This has to happen for our empire to exist. Like, as soon as we slow down and our military-industrial complex stops working, our entire economy will plummet and shut down, and the country will fall apart. Like, it's so ingrained in our economy, it's like...
Thanks to this new war, American weapons are on full display, and it's not even the best shit. And people are just gonna buy it out the nose.
It's just some leftover howitzers.
While we're selling these weapons, we're also just slowly bleeding our so-called arch nemesis. Like, just slowly bleeding them dry.
I mean...
While we take no casualties. It's a pretty win-win deal for American imperialism.
Fucking sick, dude.
Meanwhile, the rest of the small Eastern European states just sort of are gonna align with NATO. I mean, Finland and Sweden want to join NATO now.
Now they're all gonna join NATO. They're all gonna go
that's just what it was.
Russia's goal was to like say they didn't want NATO close to their borders, but now NATO's literally all around them.
Well, I mean, I think it's
Russia didn't realize how, like, powerless they were here.
Well, I think it's important to realize it's not necessarily Russia itself. It's mostly Vladimir Putin and his
Yeah.
background.
Yeah, but the attitude they
Yeah,
have.
but the Russian people march and file to it. So at the end of the
A
day,
lot of them do. I'm not saying that, like, I'm saying just like the general populace, you know, people like us are not like out there like frothing at the mouth to kill Ukrainians.
oh no, you should see Russians online. Quite a few of them are like that.
Yeah, but look at Americans online. Anybody online is like that. I'm just talking about normal people, and a lot of people are not like that. And you also have to keep in mind the Russian propaganda machine is insanely good. Insanely.
Yeah, that's the best.
So the
That's
people
the
that are
best thing
fighting,
they have.
people that are fighting in Ukraine right now actually think they're fighting Nazis. They don't think they're fighting like.
They've seen it.
Well, most of the conscripts are ethnic minorities from podunk villages.
Yeah, they don't know shit, right? So they just get.
Yeah, they're poor as.
I mean,
dirt.
to be fair, a lot of the Ukrainians are fucking Nazis.
You won't
Yeah.
get through here, Shepard.
So are Americans, though.
Yeah, that's like the second part that they're not saying.
And the
It's
Russians.
just that
too,
a
though,
lot
is
of the
thing.
Russians are also
and the
Nazis.
I mean, can you blame the Ukrainians for being fascist against Russians? Look what they do to people. I mean,
Well-
can you blame them?
What I was gonna say is, like, the thing that's been worrying me overall is like the state and the global rise of fascism all over the world. It's
Yeah.
not just here, it's not just Europe, it's literally everywhere in the world. Fascism is on the rise, and right-wing authoritarianism is getting like out of control.
Yeah.
So I'm
You
just
know,
chilling until I get to have my
People
day.
are getting emboldened. It really does happen like that. People just follow the lead.
Straight up. Like they see the shit happen, and it's monkey see, monkey do. Like,
They're like, oh, America's going full fash mode right now. Let's do that.
well, yeah, because if we go full fash and our government fails, nobody can stop us. Like if we fail, like the world's over, bro.
for the galaxy. Legends say they've come through before, and yet
Which is why it's so important for people to vote.
XD.
This should
No.
You're joking, right? Like you're trolling me right now, right?
XDD. No, I'm not.
Oh.
I don't mean in the presidential elections. I mean in local elections. Things like right-wing authoritarianism and the rise of like grassroots, like, and all this propaganda and stuff is never going to change.
See,
See,
D, E, F, G.
Doug. I think Doug died.
I think, yeah, Doug's internet fucking died. He was literally about to go off on some big point and then just died. He got taken out. Some fucking assassin.
no,
just
I
arrived.
literally, dude, I meant C like yes in Spain.
Oh,
I thought you were gonna say something.
yeah, I thought you were about to be like C and then like go off on like a big thing.
Blackback.
No, dude. If I was gonna fucking say a big thing, I'd probably still ranting right now.
Some ninja drops into his room like the fucking Half-Life 1 assassins, just with a silenced pistol, just pops him right in the head.
Prefer to think of like a Payday 2.
Yeah, the fucking FBI dude just rappelled off my roof through my
Oh,
bay
the-
window
oh, yeah,
and
the
just shot
Payday.
me in the head.
The payday
Yeah, it's good.
cloakers.
Yeah, like it makes the noise and everything.
Yeah, no, it's like there's been a big whole countercultural thing in Eastern Europe for ages where, you know, Eastern Europe got fucked really hard by Russia historically throughout the years. So as a counterculture to historical, like, Russian imperialism, the Nazism is just a popular cultural movement there.
There also is just a very, like, factually accurate thing where, like, the vast majority of Nazi auxiliary police were in Ukraine during World War II.
Yeah.
There were a ton of Nazis that were Ukrainians fighting with the Germans against the Soviets.
They're called. They have like a specific name.
Schwarzen something.
Not in
It means auxiliary police, bro.
They have a specific like slang in Ukraine for the they are. They're like militant group that they're operating as.
People also forget that Ukraine has a large historical association with anarchy.
Ukraine is a fascinating country. With a lot of people don't like. I mean, to be honest, a lot of people didn't even know Ukraine was a fucking place until now.
Vast majority of Americans have no fucking idea where it is on the map.
I remember my favorite thing is like my brother will always like take me off, and I'll be like, okay, Josh, how about you point out to me where Israel is on the map? You just can't do it.
Wait, what's Josh do?
Like he'll say crazy political shit, right?
Yeah.
And then I'll be like, okay, bro, point to Israel on a map, or like point to Ukraine on the map. Tell me where it is, and he can't do it. It's like, 'cause you don't know what
I
you're
want to
talking about, dog.
activate the project.
It's just so funny to me that most Americans will talk all this shit and they don't even know the fucking country exists. Most of them call it the Ukraine.
Yeah, the Ukraine was kind of fucking
Yeah.
like popular
It's funny 'cause
for a long time.
It's a country that's been around longer than the fucking United States.
Ukraine actually historically goes as far back as like 900.
Yeah.
The ethnic groups that have been there is even further.
People talk all this shit. Ukraine's literally been around for like 10 times as long as
Yeah,
America.
so-
Russians act like Ukraine belongs to Russia, but Russia has only owned Ukraine for about 300 years of its existence, and that was just to protect it from like Mongols and shit.
Quote,
And Russians.
Quote unquote, yeah.
idea what you've done. You leave me no choice. If we can't stop this asteroid, it must be destroyed.
I mean,
All right.
all the
Well, how many exclaves does Russia have that are treated even worse? Ones that we don't even
Chechnya is
fucking know
pretty
about.
Bad.
Chechnya is probably the major one because they killed like 1 million Chechens in the fucking late 90s, but like
Not if
all
I
those
can-
ones that are like
I was
Asian-ish,
gonna
like
say, anything that's on the border of China, we have no clue about, and it's probably so bad.
yeah, it's awful in those places, dude.
Like, China's doing that shit to the Uyghurs, but I guarantee you, the shit that's on the border, we don't even know about.
A lot of the people conscripted are people on the border right now.
What's
They're
going on
basically-
in China right now with the banking thing? Is that still going on?
I know
Probably.
they banned cryptocurrency, and that's.
I know that they're having city shutdowns again because of COVID.
They've been having some real economic struggles too. But that's because they're.
Don't try to
overworking
stop me,
people.
Shepard. I have to do
So I
this.
could explain a little bit of like what's the deal with the Russian army and how most of the conscripts are probably
You're
were
forcing my hand,
basically
Shepard. You know
coerced into
that.
signing contracts. A lot of them are that Asian ethnic minority near like China and
There is
stuff.
no escape.
Yeah.
So they live in dirt poor villages with like mud roads and like no money and no like plumbing or electricity.
Never having seen
So,
Jesus bless
but
us.
still,
And you
conscription
will
is
just die.
mandatory everywhere for every male, regardless. So, what they do is they send them over, and then you get coerced into signing a contract for a training drill, and you're dirt poor. So, contract money, why not? So,
That's why they sent them all over first too. They were effectively the
Yeah.
cannon fodder units.
because in Russia they cannot technically send conscripts on a special operation, so they basically coerced everyone into signing a shitty contract.
Special operatives.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Meanwhile, most of the guys from Moscow and St. Petersburg are in like the VDV or the FSB or the GRU, or,
I mean, they're-
or other special operations.
Not many of whom are left either, because they got dropped
Yeah.
in, and a lot of them got
And
killed
Wagner's just
fast.
a fucking
Distant memory at
mishmash
this
of
point.
every
Did I
Eastern
just hear the
European.
RuneScape teleport sound? Am I imagining things?
You're imagining RuneScape right now, Doug.
Oh, that reminds me, I still gotta edit that last podcast episode we did. I'm just gonna call it the RuneScape episode.
Oh shit, when do I get to be on a podcast?
Can be
Want to be
on.
on the next one?
Yeah, you can join us. Nothing's stopping you.
Funny to
Talk
go on.
about whatever you want.
Yeah, we literally just bullshit for like
We
an hour and a
could
half.
honestly use like a guest.
Yeah,
Probably spice it up.
Whenever you guys want to do the leftist podcast where we get really mad and scream about Nazis, I'm totally
Yeah,
down
sure,
with
we can do that.
If you wanted
I mean,
to.
I basically do that every time I talk about it.
Yeah.
We'll have a special guest appearance, and I'll play the role of Adolf Hitler on that episode to really rock the boat.
John,
Doug
that's
will
a
do, like-
weird new mustache, dude.
that.
Just do that.
Yeah, Doug will go off on like a 10-minute thing per podcast. It's basically like
And then,
it's basically ceremonial.
once in the middle of Fuck Hitler, in the next episode, you hear, "Is this someone you're supposed to say this to directly, Mr. Wicks?" And Hitler comes out of nowhere. And it's like Jerry Springer and the security's holding
I
Doug
need to
back
add
on
my
Hitler.
flair. I'm a professional comedian. Take my job very serious.
I'm gonna end the podcast, right? And I'm just gonna call Hassan out over and over and over, and then
Yeah,
I'm
I'm
gonna
gonna
call out.
fight
Well, it's too late. Hassan's already dead. Sam Hyde killed
Yeah.
him.
The Ghost of Kiev, the school shooter, he flew over with his MiG and blew up Hassan.
The ancient- The
Bro,
ancient Irish
let's do a
prophet.
Sam Cedar thing with Sam Hyde, where we get Hassan Biker on the podcast, and then we have Sam Hyde come on.
Yeah, dude, that'd be so funny.
Sam Hyde comes out of the fucking back of the room.
Okay, don't get me
So
wrong.
I do the bathroom.
I do like Hassan, and I think he does genuinely like good shit. But like sometimes his takes are just fucking retarded.
Hassan loves to fucking bootlick like authoritarian regimes when it's convenient, and then be like, no, I'm not doing that.
Because they give him money.
I don't think China is paying Hassan, bro.
No. That's not what I'm saying. I'm saying I'm the American machine, because he does.
Well, American upper middle class, like, fucking child commies love that kind of shit, dude.
Well, yeah, me, an actual communist, versus fake communist with tons of money who buys expensive house and car, LOL, and fucks porn stars.
Hell yeah.
They all want to, like, be part of the proletariat until they're not allowed to go to the gala anymore. Like, what the fuck?
Yeah, no, that's something I always say is like they recognize that like there's no such thing as surplus value in a true communist society, right? Like you don't get to have any of your nice shit anymore if we go like full commie.
No, that's not
So
necessarily
you're probably not going to become an artist under communism, professional artist.
That's
Well,
not true.
we established the communist government. Do I get to sit at home and play video games all day now?
I mean, it depends, right? Like, that's not necessarily true. Like,
But that's
actually,
what they
some of the
think this
greatest
is like.
yeah, I was gonna say, because some of the greatest works of art ever created have come out of fucking the USSR. So, like, there's a lot of really good art that came out of communism.
No, I know. You trust me. You'd love talking to Daniel about this. He loves Soviet art.
I'm not necessarily a fan of Soviet art.
I'd be one of the guys in communism who breaks up the protests.
Well, like, if you actually sit down and you read communist theory, right? It's not there could be a surplus of labor value, right? Like there could be people that are not working, and that's like
It's like broadly accessible too. Like you can read Capital and the Manifesto. It's like under 100 pages.
yeah, you can get Das Kapital. I mean,
But still, the point I'm trying to make though is that these fucking commies are like don't actually have any value.
They just
don't
don't
bring
want to work. They just don't want
Yeah,
to
they
work.
just don't want to
well,
work.
those guys, yeah. But like a real communist is like you wanna. It's like me, right? Like I don't know. I have to work. I have to do something. Like take pride in. I take pride in the transmissions that I build that make the world work, you know. And like that somebody's got to do that shit. But like people, okay, so the classic thing is always like, well, someone's got to scrub the toilets. Right? Nobody wants to do that, but someone's got to do it. Who's going to do it in communism?
I just want to see one guy on the communism thread on Twitter where they're all like, what would your job in communism be? And I want one guy to be like, I'm the sewer shit scrubber.
Yeah, that's a job you want. You know why? Because you're going to be getting paid so fucking much to do that shit in a communist society.
Hell yeah.
Nobody wants to do it. So you're going to get paid a fuckload to do it. Like, straight up. Basically, the core tenet, like, one of the core tenets of communism and, like, the idea in general is to not be a fucking slave to wages. The big thing.
Look, not everyone can be the gender studies professor, okay?
Yeah, like, we should be able to, like, not have, like, it should be okay to not work for 2 months. Like, you know, like, that should be okay. But at this point, it's not. Like, you either work or you go to prison. You get locked up in prison if you don't work. It's illegal to be homeless now.
And then they make you a slave in prison.
Like an actual slave, like you literally.
Yeah,
It's in,
they pay prisoners like 15 cents an hour for hard labor, and our country knew that was ethically wrong in like the 40s and allow you to do that.
What? Those privileged prisoners are being
They
15
actually
Let's
roll
make it
back
5.
human rights
Let's
in
make
America.
It 5. Let's make it 5 cents for the privileged Nancy's at the prison.
You guys would be
How
appalled
dare
at the
they.
amount of people who were completely unaware that all of the hand sanitizer that was made in the United States throughout COVID was made by our fucking president.
Oh no, I know. You know how I know? Because our governor was very proud of it. The New
Yeah,
York-
Cuomo said it. Almost Cuomo was proud of
Yeah,
it.
Cuomo was extremely proud. He's like, look at all these slaves I'm making do our bidding.
Cuomo is.
Who would have guessed he was a weird sex pest?
On top of the slavery thing? Damn, that's crazy.
Yeah, the lady who took over for him is no better than him. She's
Yeah,
a weirdo.
just as bad.
Our governor in Michigan is actually okay. Gretchen Whitmer is actually cool.
Good for you guys. We're still trying to get a cool governor. It's been a
Hey,
long time.
She's so cool that right-wing guys would try to assassinate her during the presidency. That's how cool she is. So,
Who?
Gretchen Whitmer.
Oh, Gretchen Whitmer, LOL. That was a fucking, that was a spook, like, psyop, though.
No, because it's psyop. She's actually a decent governor. Does everything.
Bro, it was definitely a psyop. They, like, literally put feds online on these forums, and then the feds came up with the plan, and then entrapped random yokels into saying they would do it. Yeah.
Oh, I thought you meant her being the governor. I'm like, that's not.
Oh no, absolutely not.
No.
Being the
That's not
governor.
the CIA made her the governor.
Yeah, if her being the governor was a psyop, that would be like, I would have you just called me retarded just now.
That's why I was
Nice.
confused. I was like, what are you talking about?
But like, they do that shit all the time. There's a lot of evidence that fucking the Oklahoma City bombing was a psyop. There was a third guy they never identified or found.
XDDD.
Psy's also named the band that did Gangnam Style.
It is.
That might be a psyop.
He did a song with Snoop Dogg. You think it's not a psyop?
You're right.
When he went
That's
to
what should-
when he went to get the
that's
van for the rental, there were 3 dudes who rented it according to the rental clerk, and one of the dudes was never identified. So it really makes you guess who was that guy.
At the end
He
of
was
the-
probably either a Fed or a dude in a white supremacy like gang or some shit.
No,
At
it was.
the end of the day, dude, I'm just waiting for my Deus Ex moment where I get to like install some cybernetics, and then I'll be good.
Yo, yeah, no, I can't wait till I get to go. He was a good man. What a rotten way to die.
That dude got radicalized by Nazi shit he bought at gun shows in the 90s.
Who?
Timothy
That's
McVeigh.
Get
John Piker.
to that comm tower and take it out. It's my only chance.
Hank Becker.
The ancient Irish prophesied that the only person who could stop him was Sam Hyde.
He claimed that Ruby Ridge was actually the moment where he like went off the deep end.
Yeah, Timothy McVeigh was like a very, very like strong speaker about fucking like all the ATF shit.
Oh, wasn't he like an anarchist?
Now what's
Isn't he the
this?
guy that bombed the fucking?
Yeah, no, he blew himself up. He bombed the government because he fucking.
He's like an anarchist, wasn't he? He wanted to like establish the entire like system of the economy and all this shit. He had like a whole manifesto.
No, yeah, he had a whole manifesto. I mean, that's just the MO for these fucking, for like the average American domestic terrorist, is to just write like a fucking small novel of your thoughts.
Oh, it's because it's just fucked up and pushing people into that. Like that's not like normal human behavior. People didn't do that shit before capitalism existed, bro. Like, you should do that. Like, I just don't understand how people are going to be like school shootings or like insanely like a problem. It's all these like video games and YouTube videos. Shit does not exist before you like had the schools like talking about it, like, sit in the room together.
It's also firearm ownership problem. Even though you were able to own automatic firearms like decades ago, and there were no school shootings with those. You could literally buy a surplus World War II SMG. You never heard about someone going into a school with a fucking,
Yeah.
like MP40 and just mowing everyone down.
Yeah, this is something I always say to people. Like I point to is what John's saying, and also
Especially back then when you could literally just walk into a school and no one would even question why you're trying to do that.
the motivating factor behind school shootings is something so much more intangible. It's a general air of malcontent in American society.
I mean, I think it's a general. It's like a symptom of showing how like the era of neoliberalism has basically thrown away the future for our generation. And now everything is up cyberpunk. They have no idea.
Yeah, you see more people than ever that are just straight up accelerating this
Yeah, they don't believe in democracy.
government.
They do not believe in democracy. They have lost faith in like freedom. I don't blame them.
It's like a mixture of like people just knowing more than they ever have, and things are kind of reaching like a point where it's become abundantly clear that the government doesn't really benefit anyone except people that are like already like prerequisite owners of capital.
But with the advent of the internet and mass communication, like the shamelessness and public corruption in every country has just gone out of control. And like people know something's gonna happen, and it's gonna happen like I think everybody's on edge, right? Like everybody's got this idea that something big is gonna happen in the next couple of years. Like I don't know, it's just I want to get to fucking America.
Well, that was part of the whole thing with Metal Gear Solid 2 when that game came out. Was that game was a bit like basically a big warning about mass media communication and how it would create like all these like hug box environments of fucking like contradicting viewpoints that never actually conflict or interact or tell a whole truth.
I mean, it's just really complicated, right? A lot of people are armchair political majors or political philosophers that don't understand what they're talking about. They just watch Destiny and then they go and they repeat all their fucking talking points to people who don't actually understand what they're talking about, you know? Like, a lot of it is just misinformation propagated by people that are fucking stupid.
Yeah, it's just fake shit.
Like, it's literally just fake shit. And I think I actually have seen recently, a resurgence of, like, a cultural movement to, like, detach from that shit. You know?
Oh yeah, there's a
lot of people just be like, you know what, fuck social media, fuck this shit, like, I'm done with the internet, it's fucking ruining society. And they're not wrong. That kind of gives me hope. But I think...
Just that enough dangerous countries have nukes where we might actually destroy the world.
Well, I'm at the point where we should just give every country...
I want to give South Sudan nukes.
Well, like, if you're a country right now, and you don't have nukes, you need to basically just nuclear powers. There's nothing...
Good.
You're just gonna get either apartheided or you're gonna get, like, sanctioned into oblivion.
Hell yeah. As it should be, America, dude.
This discussion has just started. This discussion has just activated like sins of the father in my brain. So
yeah, we should actually. The United States should start supplying surface-to-air missiles to Sinn Féin in the IRA. Let's get a united Ireland. It's time.
I think we make a new country next to New York City called IRA Republic.
I think we should make a new country in Michigan called Israel. Because, I mean, the Muslims are taking over Michigan, so let's just give it to the Jews.
What if we move Iran
and then they can subjugate them there?
Keep a closer eye on them. Like, we move Iran and Canada and we swap them around. So we keep a close eye on those guys.
Oh, I love that idea, dude.
It's just the craziest thing about the world that, like, people can look at the situation of, like, you know, refugees moving over from the east because of war or whatever, and then they're like, these Muslims are invading Germany and, like, the UK. Bro, this is over here. Literally 100 miles away. Like, you're literally the reason this is happening.
People just don't like them because they're fucking third world dog shit, like half the time. Nah, because they come here and fucking attack people on the street and fucking beat up women and rape them and shit at like a 5 times higher rate in like Eastern Europe than like actual citizens do.
Curious to see statistics on that.
I mean, look at what's happening in Sweden. They have no respect for Western society. Some guy draws a picture of fucking Muhammad and they're burning city buses. They're fucking animals, dude.
Did that actually happen?
Yeah, they do this all the fucking time.
Remember when that
fatwa on some guy who drew a picture of yeah, dude.
Remember when that Paris like news?
I absolutely have no patience for religious people at all, dude. Especially when they're from the fucking Middle East, because that's where all of the biggest religious dipshits live. Because we bombed those countries into fucking oblivion. They have like second-grade education.
It's not that. That's the cradle of Jew. Everything around all Abrahamic religions begins in that cradle of humanity. That's exactly why.
Yeah, they never had an enlightenment, though.
Well, I mean...
Pretty much all of the Western world did.
I don't honestly...
We're like hundreds of years past them.
Like, religious fundamentalists are, like, maybe people with a different viewpoint, and, like, but I don't think we will sacrifice,
and we will find a way.
Religious fundamentalists are blanket not good people, in my opinion.
I have a hard time writing off any entire species will fall. It seems like
prepare yourselves.
I'm just explaining why people don't like them. It's not because they're xenophobes. It's because they're literally just fucking turning Sweden into Afghanistan. People want to live in Sweden. It's like whatever, dude.
Honestly, it's hard to ignore at this point, though, that there's just a fundamental incompatibility between Western culture and
bullshit religion. Look at what they're doing in the U.S. with Christianity. I have no patience for these people. They can fuck right off back to their fucking hellhole in the Middle East if they want to be Christians so bad.
Yeah. I'm not saying I feel differently. I'm just saying that like I
People just tend to apply like religious distaste differently to brown people because they have fucking white guilt. It's like, no, fuck religious people. They're responsible for like every major atrocity in history, except the Holocaust.
I mean, what about
When are we mass purging people unless it's for like a religious reason? Or like just straight up warfare based on like them being a different race or religion anyway?
well, I mean, I would argue that a lot of the fights over religion aren't even about fucking religion. They're about territory. Like,
Yeah, a
why
lot
Yeah,
of
it'd
it's
be
just about
true.
land.
those people really
But the reason that they claim that territory in the first place for like thousands of years is their religion.
Do
So
you
it's
really,
just
really
like,
believe that like the Polish people or the fucking original people that lived in Europe that were fucking pagans converted to Christianity just because they were told to? No, they converted for power.
no, they got
believed-
owned by the Romans.
Well, no, they didn't believe in the shit. Basically, what they would do is they would convert to Christianity, right? And they
Well,
would,
not even the Romans
that
believed
would-
in that shit.
No, nobody believes in that shit. You would
Religious
convert
people tended to get tax privileges in a lot of medieval societies also.
Well,
Looks
not
like
even that.
you've
It's just that
recovered.
the church
Admiral
had a lot of
Hackett.
centralized
Sounds
power,
like you went through
right?
hell
Like the
down
church,
there.
for
How
all
are you
intents and
feeling?
purposes, was the
Fine.
government, right?
No more
Because the
visions,
kings
if
weren't
that's
beholden
what
to
you
the
mean.
church. Right?
I
And,
wasn't
like,
expecting
Pope,
to see
Pope
you
was
here.
basically the boy back then. Like
You went out there. as a
basically, if
favor
you
to
joined
me.
Christianity,
I
you
decided
could
to debrief
ask
you in
for like
person.
allowances from the Pope, and they would give you
That
money,
was
they would give you
before the
troops,
mass
they would
relay
like
exploded and destroyed an
basically
entire Batarian
do what the
system.
U.S. does, right?
What
They would
the
push your
hell
country into the
happened out
next
there,
like
Commander?
level, and then you guys fight over territory or whatever the fuck. You know, like a puppet
Have
state.
you received any
It's the same
intel
shit.
about what happened?
All I know
Like,
is I sent you out there
This
to break
religious
Amanda
fundamentalism and all
Jensen
that shit was
out
all
of prison.
created for the same
And
purpose
now
that
an
government is
entire
created. It's just to
system
control
is
people.
destroyed. I hope you could fill in the leap of logic.
Yeah, but the
between
problem
those
is
two
you have
things.
millions of people that actually believe it now.
No, people have always believed it, but
Yeah, but they've never been able to like
I didn't leave any details.
have
out
vast
of the
terror
Well, I
networks
was hoping to hear it
like
from
we
you.
do in the world today.
Without looking at this,
Yeah, but, I
I'm
mean,
assuming you confirm Kenson's
I don't know if
proof.
that like
I
Let's
did.
come full circle in the
She had a Reaper
21st
artifact
century.
that gave her visions of
Yeah,
your
but, like,
arrival.
you can't also write off every advancement that's being made because of religion, like advancements in like
And
thinking,
you believe the Reaper
philosophy,
invasion
like-
really was a threat.
like
No doubt
even
about
laws
it.
and stuff. A lot of stuff
We
has changed
literally
because
had
of
minutes to
specifically
spare.
religion. Like you can't just write all that off.
Understood. I won't lie to you.
Yeah, it's like a stepping stone that should have been smashed the second we stepped off it.
That's for a witch
I don't know.
hunt, and we don't
You
want
gotta
war
still
with the
acknowledge the past
Batarians.
and build off of it.
Not with the collectors
Like
out
you can't
there
just
taking
erase
our
it because then
colonists.
it's just gonna happen again.
What do
The
you say?
problem is religion constantly seeks to rewrite the past, make itself look
There were
better.
more than 300,000 Batarians
Yeah, but, like,
in that system.
What are you
All
supposed to do?
dead.
Rewrite it too? That makes you just as bad.
Any sacrifice
Like the
is
only
worth
way
stopping a
for
Reaper
our
invasion.
society to move forward past
I
that
happen
is
to
for
agree with
everybody
you.
to just like
I'm sorry those
Wake
Batarians
up.
lost their lives, but someone
not gonna
has
happen,
to make the difficult
right? Like,
decisions that get people
until there's
killed.
like a massive counterculture
Unfortunately,
movement or like a massive
not
war or
everyone will
something,
see it
like,
that
and
way.
we enforce some kind of secular society. Like that's just not gonna happen, straight up, ever.
So what do you suggest?
And even then, that wouldn't last forever.
There's a
But at
core
some
part of
point,
humanity. Like people need
You'll have to go to Earth and face
that.
the music.
some
I
people
can't
need that
stop it,
experience. They need to be
but
able
I
to look
can
at
and will
something
make
like
them
God
fight
and be
for
like,
it.
okay, this is like something I can blame for the bad things that happen in my life. You know what I mean? Like they need that. Some people need a reason.
That's fine. Like I get religion on that level. I'm talking when I talk about religion in this sense.
I mean,
I'm
like,
talking about it
structure.
like as an
The
institution.
Batarians have
Yeah,
been
as an
looking for an
institute. That
excuse
makes a
to
lot
wage
more
war
sense.
on us since we showed up in
I
the
I don't give a fuck if you're like
Yeah,
privately religious, but I think that pretty much everything religion stands for as an institution today needs to be like fucking struck down.
Well, yeah, because it's just our government.
It's
Like,
pretty obvious that the people who believe it in its most conservative sense are like
Thank
the
you,
greatest threat to Western society.
no,
do
they
whatever
are
you have
Western
to do
society,
out here.
bro. Those
But when
people
Earth
are like the
calls,
Koch
You
brothers.
make
Those
sure
people
you're
are
there
the
with your
fucking
dress blues
religious.
on.
Like
Yeah, they are Western society, but they're also the greatest
Oh,
existential
yeah.
threat to its greatness.
Keep this.
It's
I
self-destructive.
don't need
No,
to see a report
No,
to know you
Western
did the
society.
right thing.
This is Western society. What you want is something else.
Yes, sir.
You're
Mm.
misinterpreting.
You've
This
done a
is
hell
not
of a
going
thing,
to change.
Commander.
This is how it's supposed to be. to them.
This is definitely changing. It's been changing since that Enlightenment, dude.
Yeah, well, that caveat
I mean-
you just put on there, Jake, is I think the most important thing is to them that's what they think Western society is supposed to be.
Exactly.
I don't think that's what
They're
a
a
majority
dying
of
breed.
people want it to be anymore.
No, I'm not saying that, like, I'm not speaking for general people here. I know the public opinion obviously is changing. The people who set it up this way, the people that are actually in power, this is what they think it is. You know what I mean? That's what I was saying.
They don't even believe in God. They just use the institution to control.
Yeah, and enforce their belief. They don't believe in God. They just believe that they just don't like seeing androgynous people, or they don't like seeing black people. So they use government and religion as an excuse to like persecute people.
I have a coworker like this, fucking real piece of shit. But he's like that. I've never seen him actually do anything. I've never seen him actually do anything Christian. Never seen him pray. Never, he does like all this negative shit. He's such an awful pessimist about everything. But but he loves to talk about how much he hates gay people.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Bro, I am very, like, fucking, sympathetic towards, like, Muslims in the Middle East and Palestinians and shit, but at the same time, dude, I, like, have talked to so many of them, met so many of them, expressed, like, beliefs to so many of them through my job, especially where I work directly with, like, Afghani refugees and shit, people from, like, Yemen. Places in the U.S. and Saudi Arabia have carpet bombed.
What do you do?
And when you start getting into their, like, personal beliefs with them, it's literally like talking to a fucking, like, Quaker, like a fucking pilgrim, dude. They're just, like, behind.
They don't have school and shit, dog.
What happens when a quarry?
That's what I'm saying. That's what I said. They have, like, fucking second grade education. It's like,
Yeah,
fuck.
look at just what like the religious right is trying to do right now. They're trying to fucking destroy our school system, and they've been successfully doing it for the past 50 years.
And when you send 100,000 of these people to a city like fucking Stockholm or some shit, dude, you're directly changing that city
Yeah, it's gonna fuck everything.
and making it shittier.
Yeah.
That's my whole point. Is like, that's the only thing I will go like full hard like right wing on is like if you're coming here, you're fucking assimilating.
No, I agree. You should, you should be if you want to practice your religion, that's fine. Do it privately. But
If you don't like the West, go back to your country we carpet bombed and fucking start Al Qaeda again.
You're not changing America to be more satisfying to you.
Okay, but also like, that's not fair. Like you have to go both.
World's
ways.
not fair.
Like, well, shouldn't we be trying to make it a fair place? Isn't that the whole fucking idea of democracy?
Some things are just better than other things. I'm not trying to make the world more fair for the religious right.
Well, we still have to educate them. We can't, like, what are we supposed to do? Throw them back in there and then?
Yeah, we have to be compassionate towards them, but like when they start being like fucking monkeys, we need to make them not throw shit.
They need an eye kept on them. Like, yeah, you can.
They need to be fucking programmed like it's the Great Leap Forward, dude.
They can integrate if they want, but that's the whole thing is they can integrate.
Right-wing shit. This is not. I do not agree with any of this.
I mean, I don't know what to tell you, man. I mean, it's a legit, like, it's an epidemic. Again, you can look at cases in Sweden. These are actual numbers.
I'm not saying it's not real, bro. I'm just saying the approach. I don't think I agree with that approach. I would not just say like fuck off. Like, if you're gonna say fuck off, then do something about the war in their country. Like what are you supposed to do? Push them back?
We did. We started it.
Yeah, we've also tried intervening and ending it. Nothing fucking works.
So we start the war, and then they come to us like, hey, you started this war, my home got destroyed, and my kids were killed. And then you're like, fuck off back. And then when you get tired of them acting like monkeys, you're just gonna stamp them out? What the fuck else are you gonna do? Like, you gotta come up with some kind of solution. Like,
I mean, currently what we're doing is the solution, which is effectively having the nice, like, neoliberal approach of, like, opening our fucking countries to them and giving them all sorts of, like, financial aid and all sorts of other shit.
That's pretty much what we should do, in my opinion.
I'm fine with all of that, but if you're not going to be a good little boy, there needs to be some kind of fucking repercussion.
I mean,
Yeah,
like
that's-
deportation or something.
Right? Like, you have to follow the law and shit. I'm not saying
They need to deport people who are, like, doing knife attacks and shit. Dude.
Yeah, like, that shit's
It's fucking
not okay.
stupid.
I would never.
Like,
agree
you
with
don't.
that.
If you leave an active war zone to go to a different country that's taking you in as a refugee, you don't turn that country into a fucking active war zone.
Yeah, that's fair.
The specifics of charges.
I would say the same thing with, like, non-Muslims, too. It just gets touchy because it's the vast majority of them are Muslims right now because that's just whose countries are getting fucked.
Yeah.
Like, the same thing could be said with, like,
What happens if you're
people from the Yugoslav and places like that in the 90s and shit.
The specifics are up to the
Because they came here and the first thing they started doing, like, after Bosnia broke up and shit, they came here and started getting into, like, club drugs and ecstasy and shit, and they took over, like, where the other mobs of, like, past immigrants that fucking fit in.
Yeah, but
And it's like, organized crime is also a thing that, like, new immigrants do. It's just, like, a thing. It always has been.
Yeah, to put it in perspective, I don't like just what Doug is saying is like, say fucking China attacked fucking Taiwan or whatever, and a bunch of Taiwanese refugees came. There's like a huge cult thing there, right? If they started turning cities into cultist cities, because like so many of them are congregating in a single city.
Bro,
like,
there are people here that we shouldn't even allow to do what they're doing.
We wouldn't want that. We wouldn't want them to start like altering the culture of a city into some weird cultist base just because so many of them move there.
It's like Mormonism and shit, dude. It's like,
I mean, look, man, it's all about the laws, right? Like, that's where I'm at with it. Like, you gotta
So
do
no
something
prison
with the
and
law.
no death penalty?
Like, if
We
they're
don't
breaking
have
the
the
law,
spare
fine. But if they're not
resources
breaking
for
the law and they're just going to a city and they set up a cult and
Monitored
nothing's
work
against the
detail
law,
is
then
more effective.
there's shit you can do.
And we
Sorry.
don't have enough people to
Like,
afford
fair enough.
executions. An
Like, that's
exile
just, you
can
can't
still
just
have
push them
children,
away.
and
Like, they're
those
just gonna come back or they're just gonna go
children
die.
are welcomed
Like,
back.
what the
yeah,
fuck?
cults generally are less of a problem because they tend to function independently and not be a broad problem for all the members of society.
The point though is that if they were causing problems, I should have clarified.
violent
If they,
attack, like,
yeah,
and the
they're-
thing is, I'm saying, it's like violent attacks are against the law. So
But then America will do that shit to cults that
Allowing
aren't even
someone
doing
to
anything
complete
bad just to
treason.
prove a point. So
Rare.
in America,
It
we
must
just
be
kill
something
black
that
people
affects
that
the
are
entire
doing normal
flotilla,
things, and
not just
we
one
kill
ship.
people that are
The
refugees by
most
locking them
recent
up in
one
cages
was
and taking them
Anora
away from their
Vanya
families.
Vasilani, an engineer
Life
who
is
handed
cheap
over
here.
fleet defense schematics
Oh,
to the
yeah.
Batarians.
Life
Depends on who
Had
you are,
good
too.
intentions. The
the
Batarians
Coyotes.
were contracted to
in some ways, the
upgrade our
Wild West
systems,
never ended.
but they passed
Except now the
defense
government has a
schematics to
monopoly on
pirate
violence. We
gang.
don't just get to kill each other like cool guys anymore.
I mean, you never really got to kill each other with like cool guys. It was just people. People, they had gangs, bro. It's the same back then. They would just.
I mean, a lot of the time in
Oh,
like
you know
certain
what?
places
Well,
in
you
the
know what,
West, up
Jake?
until
I
like
would
the
make the
1910s, you could kill a guy and get away with it.
Well, you
pretty
know what,
easily.
Jake? I would make the coolest posse. I'd call us the Cum Gang, and we'd ride around
Yeah.
and hog tie
Like, you
people
could-
and shoot them.
You certainly could do that. But you also certainly could buy.
All right,
spend your
saddle
life
up, cum
in a
gang.
caravan. You certainly could spend your life.
Saddle
in a
up.
caravan, load up with your wife and
Was
kids,
she
and then
convicted?
get robbed, shot,
No,
and killed 30
she
miles
made a
down the road.
suicide run on the pirate gang.
It's-
That happened a lot. A lot of the
I've-
killing that happened in the Western period was literally just dudes in bars, like
Obviously,
being like,
obviously
"You're a
I'm
bitch,"
joking,
and
it
then
was a
one guy
fucking-
shoots another guy.
Obviously, I'm joking. It was a fucking horrible time period, but you know, it's fun. It's funny. Let me have a joke.
Dude, there were literal like sheriff's offices all throughout the West that were bandit towns. Like they had agreements with like roaming
don't
bandits
commit
and shit not to
crimes
arrest
there,
them in
don't-
town and fine.
Yeah, you can hide here. You can stash your loot here. Just don't fight here.
And they would pay them to go get people. As well.
Like Michigan was effectively a gang state for a long time.
Mm-hmm. And then it became the most like industrialized, police-controlled, like factory state, manufacturing state in the fucking country. And then,
then
it all
it
fell
wasn't.
apart, and it hasn't been touched in fucking like 100 years. Dude, you guys need to come here. Like where I work in a factory, and our factory is really nice. It's well kept up and stuff. It's actually the cleanest factory I've ever been in. But like, just driving around Detroit and seeing all the decrepit factories, old commercial buildings, old manufacturing buildings that just have machinery and like chemicals and shit that's just been sitting there for like 100 years, and that shit's just all over the place. It's fucking
Damn.
neat.
What's the factory make?
We make
Okay, let's go
engines
find the
for,
flotilla.
for like
I was
these
going to
trucks.
book passage on another
Oh,
ship.
word.
I
So,
didn't think there would
We
be time
are
for
actually
you to
the only
help.
place in the world that makes them,
Thank you,
right? So we
Shepard.
make transmission. I
What
personally.
program
What do you like, a
is
cat
the
factory or
Flottilla's
something?
Location.
Well,
Or
I
like
built
The
fucking
admirals
My
will
brother
be
builds
waiting
engine
for us.
blocks, and then we have like electronic battery transmissions as well. And,
What company is this?
I work for a subsidiary of Mercedes-Benz.
Oh,
Actually, the Mercedes-Benz research and development is at my facility here in Michigan. It's here.
No messages.
It's
for
at
you,
the building I
Commander.
work at. It's really cool.
So, John, also, I'm sure you were watching the whole time, but I did the Galaxy a service and wiped out a Batarian system.
Yeah,
Admiral
no,
Hackett
who cares?
Admiral Hackett chewed me out for not making it look like an accident.
I finished my Archon campaign.
He was like, I'm very disappointed in you, Shepard, that you didn't try to make it less obvious that it was you who killed all those Batarians.
What's the next campaign, Joe?
Listen, I'm doing the galaxy a favor every time I kill a Batarian.
Good.
There's literally nothing good or redeeming about them.
Listen, dude, if you keep that shit up, you're gonna get deported. I'm already filing the paper.
Well, no, bro, because I'm part of the establishment. My belief system is inherently more right and justified than yours because my belief system is part of the establishment.
Yeah, but the way you think is in line with the inferior way of thinking.
Yeah, God, we're gonna get ready, actually.
Yeah, you're actually committing a thought crime right now.
Yo,
Yeah,
what
I'm
the yo, what the fuck? I'm objectively correct though.
We're sending you to Syria.
That's actually a crime.
You're objectively in prison.
Oh my god. Oh my god, I just teleported into a jail right now.
Sir, you are objectively under arrest. Anything you say can and will be objectively held against you.
You are getting black bagged.
I'm in that Filipino jail where they just hold every detainee ever all at once.
Guantanamo, dog.
It's not actually police violence. I'm not being overly aggressive. That's subjective. That's just your opinion.
Well,
That's
your
just
methods
like
of
your
police,
opinion,
but
man.
your methods of policing is just part of the established norm, so it can't be brutality because you're no more brutal than any other cop.
You think me holding my knee down on this guy's neck for 15 seconds is like a gross display of like?
Oh, 15 seconds? That's milk toast. You gotta get those
Typical
numbers up,
lib,
buddy.
dude.
We'll do like 4 minutes.
Typical lib.
If you had to hold a guy's, if you had to hold your knee down on a black guy's neck for even 5 seconds, you would be so tired because you've never worked a day of work this hard in your life. Kneeling on black people, it's a hard job.
I bet I could kneel on 1,000 necks at once.
See, black people are the ultimate minority because they've had to work hard as fuck to even be treated like a third as good as white people, so all of them are just like fucking battle hardened against the system.
They've had to. I mean, fuck, bro, it's so fucked up.
They've had a really fucking rough go at it.
They've had to. The
only thing they've done is persevere.
They've had to weather so much bullshit in this country. It's so fucking sad.
And yet most of them are religious too. I'm literally just being an edgy atheist today, dude. I don't understand. Who was that guy on the internet who used to be the edgy atheist guy?
The amazing atheist.
Yeah, whatever happened to that guy? Didn't he like get a video leaked of him like shoving a cucumber up his ass or something?
No, that's not what finished him off. That was just the status.
There's just one nail in the coffin, dude.
What killed the amazing atheist?
That was
What killed him?
Tuesday.
What killed him?
God? Let's see. Maybe God struck him down.
I remember.
God smote him for his insubordination.
That'd be awesome, dude. He got struck by lightning twice back to back.
There was like a supposed leaked video of him like pouring hot oil on his
I'll have you know he's still
wait,
making
pouring hot
videos.
oil where?
He's pouring
On
hot
his dick.
oil on his dick or some shit.
Oh,
That's
nice.
awesome.
I'll have you know he still has 4,220
Listen, he can-
Patreons. He is literally still making money.
TJ.
Bro, who is paying him, dude?
You know, well, you
And
know
he
what?
is
The-
still-
Well, hold on. He made a massive shift in his like content.
What?
Yeah, he appeals to right-wing Trump people.
Yeah, he's not called. The
Wait,
Amazing
really?
Atheist. He's called TJ something.
No, he's still called Amazing Atheist. I'm on his YouTube right now.
Oh shit, he does update his shit.
Most people
He makes
call him-
Bernie Trump Adderall
But he's also
Zoomers.
called. He's under like a blanket called. Let me look at this. Yeah. Pessimist production, so he can branch off. Yeah, I imagine he's. Yeah, no, Amazing Atheist. He's never gotten 1 million, so yeah, he still does not have 1 million subscribers.
Who would have
That's
thought
crazy.
the incredibly edgy autistic reactionary guy would eventually end up being a fucking...
propaganda.
I would have never put it together.
Nuts. What about Sargon? Whatever happened to
Oh,
Sargon?
he's dead. He's dead as fuck. He is so
What?
fucking dead.
Sargon.
Oh, what happened to him? He tried to run for policy
Here,
in England.
No. Sargon of Akkad, he died 2279 BC. Don't worry about him anymore. He's long. He's long.
So Jake, how did you never hear about this though, dude? He tried to run for
been
policy
dead
in
forever.
England. John, you're stopping the most entertaining bit. This dude, it was amazing.
Oh, he ran for the Labor Party.
Yeah, he ran for the Labor Party, but then he just said a bunch of really heinous, racist, and misogynist shit, and basically destroyed the whole party. He ruined the whole fucking party's election chances because he turned the entire party radioactive that election cycle. Everybody hated
Wasn't that
him.
Jeremy Corbyn being accused of being an anti-Semite for not being a Zionist?
I don't know about that, but I do know that there was basically a whole thing where in England after that point where if you saw Sargon in public, you just throw a milkshake at him. He literally
Sargon still makes money on Subscribe
He
still makes money.
He literally got milkshaked in every city he went to.
Oh yeah, some guy did throw a milkshake at him.
No, not just once. All the time.
There's a member of parliament that was stating that she was getting rape threats all the time. Like, it was a common
And he said, I wouldn't rape you.
Yeah, he said, I wouldn't even rape you.
What the fuck, bro?
Yeah, no, Sargon...
So fucking based, honestly, dude.
He has declined to apologize for this comment.
Honestly,
he also when
that's like literally a Dave Chappelle bitch, and he's like talking about feminists, and he's like, "Oh, men are always trying to rape us," and he's like,
also,
"Well, not
also
you,
it gets
bitch."
Also, it gets better though in debate. In debate, whenever like pressed about any question from the mediator, like he would just throw his hands up, like he didn't actually know jack shit about politics at any point.
Really? That's shocking, but not really.
Yeah, no, he
Why would
didn't
you have to
jack
know
shit.
about politics to run for government?
Bro, he could have turned everything into like a fucking corn pop anecdote.
Oh no! It gets even better too. There was at one point where he was like, you know, in like a pre-meeting where he's meeting like other politicians from his party and like other parties, and he meets one of these guys and they shake hands, and they mention, you know, they call him by his real name, and Sargon was like, he knows me. It's like, no, dumbass, he just researched you because like he has to fucking interact with you.
I just googled Sargon Avocado and your full name just popped up on Google.
Yeah. Oh my god, he knows.
So why is everyone talking to a corpse? Is my question. Why is the corpse talking to them? This is weird.
You know, we can't really accuse him of misogyny. You know, he died in like of the BC era. Like he really was a product of his time.
I think the best politician the West has had in a long time was actually Rob Ford, and his death was a great loss for all of us.
I think Marjorie Green is the best politician I've ever seen.
I like Lauren Boebert more just simply because the shit she does is more comically hilarious. Like, she married a fucking dude who's a sex offender because he whipped his cock out in a bowling alley to show everyone his cock tattoo. And she has a fucking four-wheeler accident where she fled the scene with her son and grandma on a four-wheeler and got in a drunk accident and fled the scene. Like, we're literally making the, like, fucking Beverly Hillbillies into Republican congressmen.
I couldn't believe her.
Dude, I love these dogs. I like watching them just fucking
Look how cool like Bill Clinton was. Saxophone.
The establishment Republicans hate them.
Oh, I know.
No, yeah, they're just doing nothing. They're just doing nothing but destroying the reputation of
Marjorie
the
Taylor Greene makes Republicans look fucking so much more retarded than they actually are, dude.
Yeah, well, they're cannibalizing their own party, which is fucking wonderful. That's like the best thing I've ever seen in my life.
This is what they always do, though. Half these people were Bush heads 20 years ago, and now that's too fucking left-wing for them.
Yeah, and that's fucking crazy, dude, because Bush was fucking bloodthirsty, bro.
Absolutely.
Yeah, no, we've talked about this here before. After 2001, from 2001 to 2000, like let's just give it a general time frame because I know it's still like this, but let's just be generous here. From 2001 to like 2009 or so, the U.S. was just like a fucking death cult. Like the bloodshed.
Straight
the
up,
cruelty,
dude.
the
They fucking
violence was
canceled the
point.
Dixie Chicks for saying they didn't like George. That's
Yeah.
like, bro. People were their careers were getting like destroyed in Lamp for saying they didn't like the president.
The violence.
And then conservatives 15 years later are like bitching about cancel culture like they didn't fucking invent it like 20 years ago. I mean, like they didn't invent it, but like
it was always
in my life, it's always been them.
There was no point to like half the shit they did other than to be like hard ass and cruel and evil about
Just
it.
to let fucking the vice president like get a little money.
They literally were saying, like, "Oh, you hurt our building, you killed us." They killed 200.
They knew Osama bin Laden's location before they even invaded Afghanistan and neglected to kill him so they could justify an invasion.
The worst thing though is that like I like obviously like a terrorist attack that horrible like should have some kind of retribution, but we knew pretty much from the get-go that the Saudi government was involved, but because the U.S. institution.
Oh, I thought you were talking about George Bush. No.
But
You're talking about
but because the U.S. institution is more interested in protecting its financial assets, we never actually did anything to impugn Saudi Arabia for its crimes against us.
I just can't believe how good that George Bush was at acting like a retard.
Well, no,
Name one bad thing George Bush did. I'll wait. I'll be waiting forever.
He did cocaine. That's pretty bad.
Anything you say
Shit.
is on-based.
Name one bad thing he did. I'll be waiting till the next BC.
There's a gold statue of him getting the shoe thrown at him somewhere in Iraq.
That's awesome.
It's like Republicans live in a fucking dream world where we're like harbingers of freedom to these countries, and they don't actually fucking hate us because we're like raining death on them. 20 years.
It's just a couple evil guys.
We take their civil war that would have like maximum 50,000 casualties, and we turn it into a million death civil war that lasts for 20 years. And like we're like, where's our thank you, bitch?
And then the people who were in power before still win anyway.
You know what they say, Doug?
Yeah, and then the second we leave, they just lose anyway because that's how it was always meant to be.
Yeah, the Taliban was always just gonna take over. We were just stopping an inevitable like occurrence.
No, we were making money, dog. That's what we were doing.
Yeah, we were
I mean,
like
that's the obvious answer. That's the obvious answer, but like
they were our farm spot, bro. They were our level 80 farm grind spot.
Yeah, we were grinding.
Bro, I had to enhance my fucking F-35 the pen, Doug. Don't you dare, fucking, bro. Bro, I really fucking hate it when
that's where I confuse people because I'll straight up like shit on fucking like all sorts of shit that like makes left wingers be like, oh my god, what the fuck is wrong with this guy? And then I'll just straight up like just annihilate conservatives, just DC snipering conservatives.
I mean, it's good to have your own beliefs, is what I always say to that. Is just
I think if you like strongly align with one side on every issue, you just fucking stupid.
Yeah,
I just think liberals are too soft, man, and then the left at large has like certain things that they let themselves be cocked over.
Dude,
I don't really get it. And then Republicans are just ideologically wrong on a lot of things because their like ideology is steeped in like not actually being educated.
The thing about the right is that the right is like regimented, right? The right is like a machine of hate. Like they're constantly.
Yeah. It's for people that have the fucking super right brain syndrome and they love the order shit.
And it works perfectly, right? It works just the way they want it to, and it's been working for a very long time.
Well, and the thing I always say about this though is like
constantly because they fucking do weird shit where it's like, no, you're actually more of an oppressor. It's like, bro, just fucking, can we fix something?
Can we just acknowledge that everyone benefits from the global oppression system of like Western capitalism?
The thing about that though is that the pedantry is the point. They don't actually want to fix anything. The pedantry is
exactly.
The point.
They just want to like make you know that they feel bad about it.
Yeah, they want to irritate you. The goal is to make you irritated.
Yeah, because I feel bad about it literally every day. Like,
it's like, hey, I'm so sorry about slavery. It's like, okay, can we have reparations? No. Like, what the fuck?
It's so fucking. It's a bunch of pedantic bullshit.
I'm in favor of reparations, and then like I'll talk to somebody and I'll be like, yeah, I'm in favor of that, and they're like, why? Why the fuck should black people get money? It's like, bro, what the hell is wrong?
Bro, yeah, a lot of people are really upset about that.
What the fuck?
Because it's like it's almost like they completely missed out on it institutionally for like 200 years. Like, if we really were serious about making it equal, we should have like actually done something like that. So, I mean, like, even fucking Britain gave money to people as reparations after fucking slavery ended, but guess who they gave it to?
White people.
Slave owners for lost profit.
Yeah. Like, so
fucking D.
Even with
they did technically lose profit, though.
They did lose money. They did lose money.
Slavery is quote unquote like over, but like all we did was corral them into ghettos, and then like give them really cheap jobs that are full of pollution,
and sharecrop them and Jim Crow them and redline them and fucking
they can't vote,
systematically kill them and KKK them.
Okay, and where's the thanks we got?
I've literally had people that are Gen Xers tell me that racism has been over for at least 60 years now.
Yeah, we've defeated racism. Mrs. Obama, we've done it.
I was like, when 60 years ago did racism end? When they killed MLK? When they killed Malcolm X? Like, when 60 years ago on that timeline, exactly.
60 years ago.
When they shot the first black college student walking to school? Like, yeah, when Ruby Bridges had to get walked to school by the fucking FBI? Like, when did it end?
Okay, Doug, maybe you know those ones, but name any more that happened after that, okay?
When Emmett Till got fucking lynched? Like, I don't know, dude. Like,
the FBI literally fucking assassinated Martin Luther King.
Obviously, man. Without a doubt.
They killed Zen.
That's a conspiracy hill I will die on any day.
Okay, maybe
It's
those
not even a
ones too, but
conspiracy.
I think they whacked JFK too easily.
Yeah.
Okay, maybe they whacked JFK, but I'll wait. Did they?
I mean, everything that the
else
government denies is technically a conspiracy by definition.
I mean, that's fair, but I mean, there's pretty much an overwhelming amount of evidence to suggest that the FBI is implicated in MLK's shooting.
They'll never admit to it.
No, they won't admit to it because admitting
Everyone knows it, though.
you have
to be retarded to think that some random guy just did it.
Some random guy who wasn't particularly smart or was basically a recently escaped convict who conveniently fell into a lot of money from a nice stranger who just said, hey, I just need you to go into the store and buy a rifle. Don't do anything with it, just hold on to it for me.
Yeah, exactly.
That's a thing. That's a thing that only happens to normal people. And also, the guy, the very nice man he was in contact with, was basically a known undercover agent.
Yeah.
I mean, think about the Jack Ruby thing that happened with JFK, dude. Like, how the fuck do you explain that?
You don't.
Think about the fact that the FBI and CIA both had independent files on fucking him because they knew he was a patsy and they knew he had been to the Soviet Union. No, but actually, speaking of Timothy McVeigh, one of the witnesses of Timothy McVeigh was some dude who said that he picked up Timothy McVeigh off the side of the road and had gay sex.
Nice.
Wait, so
it's
the
just
FBI had
randomly
files
like
on
one part of it.
That's cool.
Both the FBI and the CIA were fucking the same guy.
Well, yeah, they were trying to fuck Martin Luther King by knowing that he fucked white lady, which is also really based for a black guy to do.
Okay, so they fucked Martin Luther King in the ass and then shot him?
Yeah, basically, dude.
Well, I mean, he just left the motel when they killed him.
SEAL Team 6 fucking dropped out of a Black Hawk.
Okay. After Martin Luther King died, though, there was no more racist.
Doug, and they canoed his ass. There we go. We've achieved continuity.
Dude.
If we were on the podcast right now, we'd make. We just need to like talk about somebody getting shot in the head and canoed every week on the podcast.
You could have just recorded the last hour, and it would be an episode.
It really would have been an episode of our podcast.
It could have survived impact, but
we'll come up with more. This is just how good we are.
Yeah, I mean, honestly, there's
I could do this all day, dude.
Yeah, there's no shortage.
My brain's... I'm mentally ill. I can do this for hours. Let's go.
So after Martin Luther King died, though...
I mean, that's all a podcast is a bunch of mentally ill white men talking to each other.
I'll wait for you to name one bad thing that happened after Martin Luther King died. I'll be waiting a long time, though.
What about all this?
Can I name something bad that happened before he died?
No. It has to be after liberal.
What about all that?
9/11.
You know? You're right. What if the plane could... in the World Trade Center, someone probably was black and like Martin Luther King.
I was gonna say the Holocaust, but you didn't let me say before. So
no, the Holocaust, though, that never happened. Okay, don't even...
Oh yeah, I forgot.
Enough with your Marvel Extended Universe fantasies. Okay.
Years ago. Why wait to signal?
Get over that whole baby shit.
That was not the context of the conversation, bro.
Why aren't we talking about the real Holocaust, which is
the Holocaust?
400 trillion black babies are aborted every year.
That's an Avengers level threat, guys.
That's the real Holocaust.
Why are we not talking about the real Holocaust?
Promoted under emergency command protocols.
Why are we talking about the real Holocaust? The abortion clinics killing a bajillion babies a day.
I love how that's the West's idea of handling white replacement theory is to just be like, white people aren't having babies. Oh no, what the fuck? And the Japan's idea of it is just like, please have sex.
Please fuck. Please have sex.
Please have sex.
That's because the Japanese made anime girls more enticing than real ones.
Yeah. I mean, I wouldn't want to reproduce if I lived in that fucking shitty of a society anyway. It seems even worse to like live there as an average citizen than it is to live here.
I don't want to reproduce with a girl when Miku-chan's much hotter than them. Seriously.
Pregnant, LOL.
I'm married to a Vocaloid.
Where would you find the
Imagine-
time? You're working like
imagine-
100-hour work weeks. You're working 100-hour
Imagine
work
if you
weeks.
made the most perfect woman and then you're like, why don't you marry one of these slags? And it's like, no.
I do think their work culture is like fucking weird though. The like binge drinking and sleeping at work thing is like so unacceptable here.
Well, that's because they're sleepy.
Well, it's like what? It's like where
They're
the
like,
hell
wow,
would
you're
you-
sleeping at your desk. You must have been
Where the hell
working
would you
so
find the
hard.
time to like fucking like start a family? Like you're working 100-hour work weeks. You have like no time.
Yeah,
You have no time to fuck.
Up and then like go back to work. They work so fucking much. It's insane.
Yeah,
Yeah,
like,
it's
you have-
crazy, man.
You'd have
It's not a way to live. Like people already have a poor work-life balance in this country with a 40-hour work week.
That's part of why
Even if you're
suicide's
not
so
a drunk?
high because they have no work. Because they have no work-life balance. It's just work. You just kill yourself.
Why would you want to bring a child into that fucking like
Yeah, you
system?
you don't want to live through
That's
that.
what I'm trying to say. Like existentially, it's like fucking. Why would you want to do
It's
that?
miserable. It's terrible.
Really bad. I mean, that's kind of my point of view on it.
And then right-wing types will be like, "Well, it's you gotta have children. It's like the point of living." And it's like, well, yeah, it is, but like this
Is it
society is like incompatible with that, and like
Well, I'd
also
say
meaning it's like a meaningless thing.
But it's like if having children is your point of living, then you may. But like, and it stops there.
It
like,
is
you
the
need to-
biological point of
I
existence.
mean, yeah, but the point is like on on a more existential and philosophical level, if you want to bring children into this world on as a personal note,
yeah, you should have like
you should
you
then
know.
want to take that a step further and bring them into a
healthy
loving
world.
environment, a loving and healthy.
I got a cheaper solution. What if we made a robotic Miku that was able to give birth?
You might have a cheaper solution, but I have a final solution.
Please have sex.
We all Kool-Aid and die.
Like,
That's the final.
I'm
solution.
sorry. Like,
We just commit
Find a
mass
cool
I
way to
don't
die.
care about
That's
regular
true.
women anymore. They're all
Captain
just
Harris
toilets.
Fairchild
to
reports
Miku-chan,
killed
you know?
on an unscheduled sub.
That's why we need to make Miku-chan
First Officer
real,
Ronald
and then I
Taylor
think
promoted
everything's
even
him
talk
solved.
to acting
gross.
captain.
But
Yeah, I
where's
can
he
talk to
now?
Miku-chan,
The
though.
location
She
of the
doesn't
remaining
talk
crew
back,
of
so
the
like...
Gurnsack is unknown.
Dude, the guys that have like the fucking like human scale silicone wives and shit,
They're the
cost like
happiest
10
men
grand.
out there in the world.
Those guys are. I respect it, but it scares me.
Following an
Yeah, I respect
unspecified
It's like at
flight
least you don't have someone in your
failure,
basement chained
the
up.
Hugo Gernsback made an unscheduled descent.
At least they found the
465%
solution
of
for their
theoretical
problems.
recommended suborbital velocity.
Maybe.
Hugo Gernsback
At least they're not out there
decelerated
hurting
at
people.
782% of theoretical recommended
that's the
approach velocity, sustaining significant damage to investment and crew.
Come on,
I can't
let's
wait
get going.
until we get like
Let's check the
full
ship.
on like
My father had to
you
be
get in a
for almost
VR
9
plug
years.
suit in like a
Maybe that neural
fucking
decay
like
affected him.
octagon or some
There's
shit.
no
and
way
you're
you
in like
could
a
avoid
VR
eating
hentai
something
game.
grown on this planet.
Yeah, the octagon and you beat the girl up.
Yeah, you beat them. It's like that fucking. It's like the fucking Wings of Misapprehension videos we watch, and it's just like the fucking slapping noise when Jordy's punching Kelly.
I'm excited for the UFC game where you beat up the girl before you fuck her.
Yes, dude. And then you go fight some guy.
But if you get beaten up, she rapes you.
Who are you? What was your rank on the Gurns?
Waiting for the VR like UFC game.
Can't lose.
Beat up your girlfriend and then you go like fight a fight and then you lose and then you do a bunch of drugs and you get fucked up and lose your
So we
career.
can go home. But
When's this game coming out?
I don't know. It
They
sounds
were
like a short
cast
film.
out.
Yeah, sounds awesome.
PlayStation VR only? You gotta be kidding me.
I was just saying some bullshit now I'm thinking about it. Like that would actually be a fucking fun game.
Hunters, they won't stop until the leader is dead.
Kill them! Agents of the liar! He will not escape!
We've been spotted.
See me.
Listen, I make a Paragon decision every once in a while if it's convenient for me.
Thinking a game where Miku-chan gets the dinner prepared before you get home because when the sound of the boots hitting the floor at the home, she behaves herself. Make that a game somehow.
I just want to grab some titties in VR.
And like it's a multiplayer game where a girl can play as Miku, and it's like survival horror, like asymmetrical horror game in the house.
Or we can just make it a or Doug, going back to an earlier topic, we can just make it a game about being a woman going out for a jog at 4 a.m.
My father wouldn't let this
You
go
get
on.
invaded by a Dark Souls NPC.
Yeah, instead of like getting pursued by some rapist, it just says at the bottom of your screen, Dark Spirit XX Fuckmaster has invaded.
Yeah. He is the rapist. He just
That's
walks
awesome.
Yeah,
Dark
but you-
Spirit XX Fuckmaster.
Well, I would help him out.
How did you know my hand?
but you can see him coming because you know what the rapist looks like because he's just like a fucking glowing red.
He glows
eye.
red. Yeah, he glows red. This would stall for rapes if they started glowing red.
Yeah, because then all the people who see it, like if anybody sees it, they can run up to the dude who's glowing red and just like beat the shit out of him.
Well, she just she just runs over to somebody's summon sign and just summons a gold guy in to beat the fuck out of him for her.
This is a good game.
A literal white knight.
Yeah, literal fucking white knight.
Go and beat this
We
shit
call it. The game is called Rape or Be Raped.
And then as the rapist corners her, he bows to her politely. But then while he does that, the White Phantom just stabs him in the back.
Then she starts chugging birth control, a disrespect to the invader.
Point down.
You killed them, but there are more every day. They want to fight.
Bro, I hate it when I'm trying to chase the jogger down. They both have like dual Uchi katanas and bleed stack. I really hate that shit.
That
It's
shit
so. Where's the honor?
Why the
Where's
fuck is
honor in
why the
chasing
fuck
a
is
woman
everybody
down an alley?
Oh my god, why is everybody using the tampon of Night and Flame, bro? I'm so fucking sick of this. I'm so fucking tired of this shit,
Tech's
dude.
wearing out. Those hunters must be
I
laying
just
on
got
the-
my ass kicked chasing a girl around. What was that broken
Is that a
build?
settlement?
Everybody using
Better be
Rivers of
friendly
Blood,
than
so
beach
fucking
ball.
annoying.
I need answers.
so blood. Jesus fucking Christ.
Bro, I'm tired of this unbalanced game design.
Yeah, this is not fair. This is fucked up.
This is
They're
so
wearing
fucking
the same
annoying.
uniform as the ones who attacked us,
Uh,
but they don't look ready for a fight.
Dude, like if you
Unbalanced.
literally from software, if you literally don't make the game specifically
It's like
just
they're
for me,
trying to kill the multiplayer.
you know, if you don't make this game specifically for me and my extremely hyper-specific build, where I can just invade people and steamroll them and just completely suck the fun out of the game, you're literally ruining the game. Like, why aren't you building the game just for me?
That's what I was thinking as well.
I have
Elden Ring,
I have
honestly.
never seen a more fucking entitled bunch of people than fucking
No,
Dark,
it's you
Dark
that's
Souls
entitled.
PvPers. Dark
You know,
Souls
it's
PvP.
you. No, it's you that's entitled. It's
Yeah,
you.
no, it's
shut
me.
up, shut up, lol. I can't hear you,
Anybody
stupid.
that's, like, got that terminally online like vibe, and they play Dark Souls is fucking insufferable.
Yeah, no, like
Where's
Dark
your
Souls.
honor?
Dark Souls
I literally-
Where's
PvPers.
your honor?
Dark Souls PvP is literally the most fucking entitled, like one of the most entitled groups of people I've seen on the internet.
won't
I
even play it.
bowed before you. We're supposed to duel now.
Yeah,
okay?
yeah. Listen,
Just
I'm bowing to you. Why?
Because, okay.
Listen, why are you fighting with a phantom? I'm literally invading you. I'm here to kill you and ruin your experience. Like, why are you ganging up on me? That's not
Invaded to
fair.
duel you. I forcibly invaded to duel you. LOL. What the fuck? Get out
Yeah,
of here.
yeah, I'm gonna come in here and then 1v1 you, but also if I start losing, I'm just gonna run into a pack of NPCs.
Hey, Reddit, get a load of this guy who's trying to play the game his
I'm
own
just
way.
gonna run away into a pack of NPCs and then AFK, and if you come after me, the NPCs will all just kill you.
Now, don't get me wrong, right? I'll invade people, and I will be fucking downright diabolical.
Yeah, but if you're an
Yeah.
invader, you get whatever's coming to you. If
That's
you
what you're
lose,
supposed
you...
to do.
Yeah, if you're an invader and you die there, you get whatever's coming to you, because you're the asshole. You're the one
But I'll
doing
meet
the bad
people as
shit.
fuck. That's what you're supposed to do. I'm not gonna walk up to you and be like, honor me, honor me. Oh, but you didn't obey my made-up rule that I can't talk to you in game and tell you about what?
Yeah, it's fucking the whole point of the invasion system is to be cutthroat. So like when they
How do you
like,
know?
like when they beg
How
from
do
to
you
like
know?
make their build the only viable build, it's like what the fuck do you
I
want from
guarantee
them?
How do you know?
The first DLC is gonna have like a PvP arena.
It
I'm surprised
fucking
Elden Ring didn't have one. Honestly,
yeah.
with everything it does have, I'm surprised it didn't have.
There
one.
aren't
I
any
just watched an
measures
awesome
for me to
YouTube
affect
video.
you,
This guy's managed to sneak into an Australian arms convention, and he's talking to one of the dudes that's repping Lockheed Martin there, and he's fucking
One of these people
like
know what my father has to do with this.
he's telling him about this missile he designed. It's obviously fake. Like he's joking, but he's like, it's called the outer space missile because you shoot it up into outer space. It leaves Earth's atmosphere, and by the time it comes back down, it's traveled so far that you're not liable for any potential war crimes, and it's not covered under the Geneva Convention.
Hell yeah, dude.
Yo, at
Fucking
arms
brilliant.
people will sell some fucking dumb shit at arms conventions. There's one me and John really liked looking into at one point that was like a fucking laser that only activates when you start pulling the trigger halfway at like a gun show. It's like,
Bro, he tries to walk in the front, and there's just a line of cops. He had to like sneak around, but in the beginning, like a cop pushes him, and he like stumbles, and his fucking suitcase opens up, and it's just full of mannequin arms.
oh yeah, I remember that one. That's really good.
It's fucking awesome. He's an arms dealer, bro.
An arms dealer. Alright, Justice, I finished my Archaon campaign. At least got the short victory. What's the next campaign?
Oh shit, what's the next campaign? Oh, there's so many factions.
I don't think it's Zinj.
Zinj, I was also saying you could do Vampire Coast.
I don't know if I want to play Coast. I'm interested in Counts.
Oh yeah, you could also do Counts. Von Karstein is really, really, really fucking strong. Isabel is literally like one of the strongest lords in the game.
I heard that Helman Gorst was also very good.
Gorst is also pretty good, but yeah, Isabel is like super OP. Because she has like the best magic for any or she has some of the best magic for any of like the great lords. And on top of that, her skeleton replenishment's like super fucking good. So you can just clog the enemy down with waves and waves and waves of skeletons, and then just use her magic to just decimate armies with just Isabel.
You certainly seem to have a way with words.
You heard her. I have his face. My father forced the crew to eat toxic food. What the hell?
Oh, she starts with Graveguard. Hell yeah. Graveguard are fucking awesome.
Well, you know, the Vampire Coast is really fun though, because you get Irishmen who have their special ability of running into groups of English people and then blowing up.
Yes.
Look at these spoiled
Dude, we
kids.
should get a bunch of those fucking space missiles and aim them at Britain, dude.
Like that wasn't
Yeah,
obvious
well,
enough.
we're not breaking any laws, and those missiles come back down. Nobody actually fired them.
Well, who's gonna prosecute us?
I
for
think the
laws?
tungsten rod thing would just be cooler, honestly.
Me and my brother joke about the fucking tungsten rod from space all the fucking time. It's so fucking funny.
Oh, are they actually up there? That's like an actual thing, right? That's not just like a fucking blueprint for something they want to do.
I don't think they actually have, like... They would have to shoot those tungsten rods so fucking fast, bro.
I mean, the velocity of them falling from the satellites is what's supposed to make them, like, so devastating.
They'd have to, if they get let out in space, they're just gonna...
Weapons are forbidden. Going silent.
I'm pretty sure if you just shoot them in far enough, they eventually do get dragged into Earth orbit.
Yeah, but then how are you gonna aim it?
Because, like, all of, like, my knowledge of satellites, my brother works on satellites for, like, a living, so he talks my fucking ear off on them. Pretty much all of the, satellites we have, except, like, very few of them are in low Earth orbit anyway.
And what they did to us.
So, like, any propulsion towards Earth could just send them right back to Earth anyway.
What about aiming it, though?
What does it say?
I don't know, man. I would suspect that we definitely have the tech to make it. I just don't know if it's already fucking there or not.
Afraid they'd run out of supplies
I feel like
and lose their minds to
amateur, like...
My father restricted the ship
telescopes or
food for
people who do,
himself
like,
and the
spaceship
other officers so they wouldn't be affected. Everybody
Hey,
else
there's
had to
weird
eat the
fucking thing
toxic
flying in the
food and hope for treatment later. The
Yeah.
rest is a casualty.
not.
Dude, it is real!
A few mutinied over the decision. My father and his
Holy
officers
shit.
turned mechs on them.
Yeah, it's
What's
called, Project
It was
Thor.
command material, and it got to him. Couldn't keep.
Someone's
the
been
crew
watching
without
too many
violence.
Marvel movies again, you silly
It didn't
boy.
stop there.
I guess.
Incidents,
I looked it up, the
harsh
first thing you get is
punishments,
kinetic
enslaved
bombardment.
cattle,
Okay.
or
Dude, it seems like it's almost like some space, like Star
By the
Wars
way,
Reagan level
How are you
bullshit.
gonna bomb someone with that shitty Xbox 360 thing?
This is like the weapon they came up with after the fucking cocaine orgy at like 5 a.m.
It's called a kinetic orbital strike. This is
Some guy is just standing around talking to Donald Rumsfeld, and he's like, "Dude, we should totally like put fucking tungsten rods in space, bro." He's like, just tweaked out.
No, this is just like hypothetical. There's no way this is real.
The more I look into it,
I'm seeing stuff from 2003 about them floating it around, like these hypervelocity rod bundles.
So
No, they already float them. You see? There you go.
Surviving
Done,
Done, though. Done. Nope, they're up there. They're up there.
9 years. Why didn't he set it right? I need to find.
They're talking
this
about
man.
like putting tungsten rods in the air and like like blowing up a bomb behind them to shoot them into the earth. Like this is fucking retarded. There's no way this is real.
I mean, like
You won't be laughing when it happens to your house.
weapons
You'll be laughing.
procurement officers, Jake. I don't know how much you've like looked into like the actual like attitude and behaviors of them. They're basically like fucking like children. Like when the original like XM.
I don't see anything that would scientifically like make this not work, dude.
No, but it's like the
Like,
whole
this
idea.
would definitely work.
The whole idea is just some shit like some children come up with. Like when the original XM8 program was going on and HK.
It is
was
some like
fielding-
supervillain shit though.
And when HK was fielding the rifle designs to the U.S. Army, they were like, "Yeah, it looks cool, but like make it look more like Starship Troopers." Also, that's hilarious that the U.S. Army wanted to have their rifles look more like the.
Oh
bad
no,
guys'
this is
rifles.
what they were saying. It's called the fractional orbital bombardment system. This is the one that's real.
I mean, even if it's like,
so
even if
it
it's
is
like,
basically like the thing that they were describing where it shoots it into space and it comes down really far. They are land to air based, but they leave Earth orbit and come back down. It's to evade detection by NORAD. I guess China claims they
yeah,
have.
that makes more sense. Is to evade detection or to like make it harder to shoot down. Because if it's just coming in at a straight angle from terminal velocity, that's way harder to intercept than a rocket-propelled missile at a fixed arc.
Dropping shit on Earth from space is like some giga like crazy shit.
Like that actually makes a lot more
probably do,
practical
though.
sense with that reasoning. That it's harder to intercept something just dropping straight down at terminal velocity.
So fucking fast. Like it's hard to even actually understand in your head how fast it is. It's insane. Like by
Yeah.
the time it hits the ground, you're probably not even
Because if you have a rocket-propelled missile that's moving at a fixed arc, there's like systems to shoot
No, I'll
those down.
catch a glimpse of it. I'm just.
So that, like when you reason it out with the actual rationale behind those missiles, it doesn't sound quite as fucking retarded.
Well, no, I mean, missiles, they move in an arc, because they can only go so fast. In comparison to dropping something at terminal velocity.
I don't even think the tungsten rod thing sounds like stupid or anything. It just sounds like hard to pull off.
Yeah, that'd be hard to line up. Like a bomb is a much more like conceivable thing.
I think we have all the like math to do it. The problem is logistically getting fucking telephone rod, like pole-sized tungsten rod satellites into orbit.
Yeah, like that's all I was saying. Is that I don't think it's like out there in space, but
We have so many satellites that fucking nobody knows about though. I think it's like several hundred that are like people have like found them in the sky, but like no one knows what they are. There's like there's a website that lists all of them. Let me see if I can find it.
And that's part of like the whole fucking
people away. This thing is not my father.
the whole fucking like the weapons development concept is that shit.
Do you remember when Trump fucking posted the spy satellite pictures of the Iranian thing and they shot down fucking like a satellite or some shit because of it?
Even if shit is like conceivable to do, it's the logistical idea of like how much is it going to cost and how difficult is it going to be to do it.
getting them into space and the cost of
Well, don't forget though.
Dude,
don't
America
forget,
could
though, Doug,
fucking shoot the White House into space if they wanted. Like,
Don't forget though, Doug. Trump knows a lot about space. He made the Space Force.
yeah. Why is it that every conservative president has like some retarded idea of something to do with the military? Like, it really did start with Reagan having, like, Star Wars, and now it's just, like, a tradition at this point.
Because a lot of conservatives don't actually know anything about, like, the military-industrial complex, and they just...
Dude, they just need to be told they're stupid. It's just a culture of no one telling them they're retarded.
Yeah, they just fall in love with the idea of, like, made-up, like, movie military, which is fitting since both of the most annoying conservative presidents who have ever lived were both, like, you know, like, actual actors.
Like, if anyone in Donald Trump's inner circle would just tell the man that he's fucking retarded.
Yeah, like, and this is why I think that any person who wants to be commander-in-chief of the armed forces probably should have at some point served as part of the armed forces.
Bro, can you imagine, like, fucking Trump being president under, like, with, like, a military general like Douglas MacArthur or some shit?
Like, this is something I've been saying, though, is like, why do we just let these, like, random people just try to fucking become president? Like...
Because they're rich, dog.
I know, but I hate to sound conservative, but, like, they probably should have fucking been in the military first.
We used to not even let women vote. We should have kept it that way.
I don't really even think that's a conservative point of view. It's just a practical point of view, bro. It's just like, you want people running the fucking military that have been in the military and know how it works, and are familiar with things like how fucking arms dealers and the fucking economy of weapons dealing actually works. Like, you need to have that kind of knowledge to know how to make actual decisions on, like, trade agreements and shit.
Nah, just start a space force. We're gonna go to space, and we're gonna fight the space crimes.
You know, that's a reason. I don't think that's a conservative point of view. I think that's a reasonable ask for a fucking government.
I mean, that is fair. I think I am being reasonable, but, you know, you'd be shocked how many people would fucking fight me on that.
In a socialist society, it would be a person that fucking knows what they're doing.
You're here. I knew a real squad would blow through just fine. Sorry if the mech scuffed your pads.
That's the main problem of every part of America getting neoliberalized, is that every single part of America has subsequently fallen to, like, nepotism.
What about your crew acting, Captain?
Total loss.
Nobody knows what the fuck they're
Toxic
doing.
food turned them wild. They propped me up here in some kind of ritual behavior.
Even our intelligence services are, like, falling to nepotism. No.
It's just dumb.
That's the best you can do.
That's the
You let all
craziest
your
thing.
people
that you
talk
come
back
to
like
realize
that?
as an adult, that the people who run the world are
Who are
actually,
you
a lot of them are just like, they just make dumb mistakes. They're just fucking stupid. And like, I was trying to explain this.
Yeah, that was something I realized as, like, a kid that blew my mind, was that adults are, like, fucking retarded.
Yeah, I was trying to explain to my mom. I'm like, Donald Trump is not some kind of like super.
10 years.
But he's rich, so they think he is, man.
Yeah, he's not like a giga-brain super Chad.
But he has to be. He's Donald Trump.
He's an awful person, right? But I do too. But he's not, they think he's like some kind of giga Chad, like massive brain, like manipulating everything.
I'm not
like, no,
I think he's absolutely brilliant at being, like, a con man. But there's also guys that are, like, homeless that are absolutely brilliant at being a con. He just happened to roll the dice and have the Trump family.
Mutiny. We had to take a hard line to keep order, and things settled down.
That people believe that
As
these
the
guys are
decay
like
set in, we made sure the crew were comfortable.
They're literally just lucky, bro.
Some
Like,
even
you got
seemed
unlucky.
happier.
You're smart, and you got
Ignorance is
fucked.
bliss, right?
Because
and they were grateful for
meritocracy is a lie.
like an instinct.
People put way too much faith in politicians, too.
Easy.
They put too much faith.
First, months in,
meritocracy.
the effect
Honestly, as a
lowered
concept, just
inhibitions.
believing that, like,
They got territorial.
you're
Yeah.
Protocol.
There's so many people in America that just upwardsly fail.
like, it's literally not has nothing
After
to
a
do with
while,
whether or not you're
perks seem
honestly
normal.
like really good at what you do anymore. It's all about
It's not about what you know, it's about who you know in more ways than just, like, in business. In this world in general.
Things were back
When
in
the beacon was
older
ready,
times,
revealing what
you know,
happened
like,
didn't seem like a good idea.
Like, Hunter Biden has a better life than you because he is Hunter Biden.
yeah, not because he's
It's like...
What happened to the other officers?
Anders found his conscience a little
before,
late to step
you
back.
know,
He had an accident.
pre-modern America, so
Things
you
got
know, like early
tense.
America or like before that,
End of the
before
day,
like
I was the one
capitalism
with the
that
mix.
started to
I
really
got a
take
little
control of
basic in
anything.
setting examples.
Like,
But
this is
I
not
was
a
kind to
problem.
my
If you were
people
skilled
once
in your
things
trade, you
settled
made a
down.
lot of fucking.
Seemed like I
Yeah.
had some peace.
That was just the way the world worked.
like
You
they
were
were
good.
toys.
Like, people would find like we didn't have all these problems, dude. People would just find a spot that worked for them.
I don't even think it's, like, predates capitalism, man. I mean, like, the feudal system and everything is just proto-capitalism.
The stores from the ship.
For all intents and purposes, like, fucking Western society back to like the earliest empires are like fucking pre-market shitlords.
Promoting dipshits to positions of power is just a time-honored tradition.
Yeah, I mean that's been happening since feudalism. But I would honestly argue that even under feudalism, in some respects, like people who were skilled in trades are like
Could transcend the system easier than capitalism.
They could move classes.
Can't say this wouldn't be a hell of a
things to help
vacation,
their communities too.
but you don't get to
Yeah.
walk away after all this time.
Like,
You're damn right he doesn't.
it's just like
What happened here?
I think that it would be, well, it's just like hard to really even tell because society didn't have the infrastructure that it does today. And like a lot of that infrastructure is a direct result of like Western capitalist hegemony.
I'm pretty sure we can spare the ammo.
it's just like everybody's just inside their heads screaming, "Fuck! What do we do?"
My father owned it.
It's weird to really imagine how
a different man.
America would be if it wasn't so fucking married to capitalism.
You've seen the
People can't even conceive of it.
They literally can't even
not for
conceive
them.
of a world where like they have that shit.
I mean, even going back to like when capitalism was being directly challenged by the workers' movement, America has done everything it could to stop it.
Well, including hiring.
Down to using private armies to kill fucking workers. Yeah. I mean, Starbucks just hired a lady who used to work for the Pinkertons like last fucking month, dude. And she's a fucking CIA like fucking hog. She's a goddamn spook too.
Roger that.
Bro. I love it here.
What do you mean?
They put her in charge of crushing the unions too. And it's just like
Jacob, if I had leaked the information,
so much has changed, yet so much is the same.
Your resolution of the
He
situation.
needs unions, bro.
I am not smiling.
That
Nothing
exactly.
goes through this ship, my ship, without a
That's what I
report
was
from you.
saying. Who needs these
I had no
unions?
more reason to believe Jacob's father was alive than he did, but I'm happy to know the situation
Well,
is behind you.
Starbucks workers definitely aren't West Virginia coal miners, but it's much easier to win other battles for the working class when you're fucking like solid together, you know?
Hey, bro, you don't gotta
What he
tell
did
me
with
I
it
am
was
a
his
union
own
worker.
business. There was a time when I did to you. Sending this along seemed
What
like
union are
keeping
you?
my
Oh, you're like probably Auto Workers
keep my
Union, right?
promises.
I'm the
Miranda will
UAW.
discuss your liberal interpretation of security
Chapter
codes
1.
in private.
Area 1A.
Shepard, Jacob,
I've had a lot of family in either the Steel Workers Union or fucking my dad's a Teamster.
Me and my brother are both in the UAW. We both.
I'm just a student and I work at fucking Walmart to put my ass through college.
Oh, shit, I want you guys to be unionized too.
I would love to be unionized. There's absolutely no chance of my branch ever unionizing though. Literally almost a half of the fucking people I work with are completely apolitical, and those that are political in any meaningful way are like fucking neocon shitlords.
Or they're fucking crazy.
Yeah, and they're literally like straight white trash, like broke ass people, and they're all fucking like giga right wing. It's hilarious.
They're my favorite. They're like fucking insane AMCAPs. Just
I work with a few of those guys. You can spot them from a mile away though, because they fucking look like me. They're like wearing Doc Martens and they're fucking like unshaved, like scraggly, like 30-year-old.
My favorite guys though because they're
No messages for you, Commander.
Like, I don't drink tap water, man. It's got fucking negative ions in it, dude.
yeah, like, bro. I really wish we could just start our own island, bro, and like get rid of the age of consent.
Yeah. I mean, if you really think about it, age of consent laws are stupid.
Really, like,
Oh, okay, listen, buddy. It's not called pedophilia. It's called a shebophilia, and it's different.
It is.
I guess if there really is one thing I do make any exception on being like kind of authoritarian on, it's pedophiles, bro. I'm sorry.
Yeah, that's how I feel about like radical fucking religious people, dude.
Pedophiles need to go.
Birds of a fucking feather to me, dude.
I mean, they kind of do have a long history.
Well, the Catholic Church has never done
It just
anything
gets
wrong.
weird when you start talking about Muslims because historically, like in our society, we are treating them poorly for a lot of reasons they don't deserve to be treated poorly for, like racially. So I do find myself sometimes overcompensating for that, just because it's like, I don't hate you because you're Swarth, Like, I dislike you because you're basically a fucking Nazi.
Yeah, like I don't like. Yeah, like that's the thing is like, and that's the thing is that you can't say that to somebody because then they get all offended.
Right.
I'm not saying you're a Nazi. What I'm saying is the ideology that you're spitting literally comes from shit that Nazis said. Literally, they literally said this shit over and over and over, and they screamed it. And you're saying it and telling me you're not a Nazi. Like that's what I'm saying, bro. I'm not calling you a Nazi. I'm saying you're saying Nazi shit, and you literally are. And they just don't, like, they never receive that well, and I don't even know what to do about that.
Because they literally can't even draw the fucking resemblance in their heads, because they, like, conceivably it's drilled into Western minds what, like, socialism and communism are as boogeymen ideologies to the point where it's, like, lost its meaning to some degree. But the Western mind still has a very hard time conceiving of fascism.
Well, because the Western mind is only, like, taught what, like, the latest stage of fascism looks like. They don't understand the fascist rise to power.
Yeah.
Well, anybody can understand it. All you have to do is read a goddamn book.
Yeah, well, that's kind of the challenge, though, Jake.
I know.
Yeah,
that's what I'm saying. Like, I don't
Good
know
luck getting any chud to read any literature that's not like fucking Twilight.
Yeah, like I was talking to my girlfriend. And I'm like, yeah, I'm listening. I was actually reading fucking Das Kapital. I was, you know, reading up on that kind of shit, like political philosophy and some other shit. And she's like, what the fuck are you reading? Like I was listening in on her college classes earlier, and this shit is fucking like bro. Like I can't believe they pay for this shit.
I was always really into this shit, and that's like, I don't know, man. It's just kind of my derangement syndrome. Is that like ever since I was a kid, I was super into politics.
Well, it's not though, because like everybody suffers because of what's going on. The only way to change it is to be involved in politics. That's literally the only.
It didn't even start as politics. It started as like a broad obsession with like military history because I'm like autistic as fuck, and then it turned into world history, just like antiquity. Like I don't really care about military history as much as I just like world history now.
So basically you fell into this rabbit hole the same way I did.
Yeah, I kind of got into world history through my grandfather who fought in World War II. So it kind of like started as like one of those things.
I tell people this a lot. I mean, one of the main things is also with that whole military history thing also is that, like, as a younger me, playing the fucking Metal Gear games just completely fucking destroyed my mind. I was like, what the fuck? This is all.
I also have an interesting background because my entire family are like Fox News heads, dude.
Yeah, for me.
My entire family.
I never, like, my family never gave a shit. They never taught me about any of that stuff. I didn't really care about it in school. Like, I was pretty ignorant of history and shit until I was, like, out of high school. I was probably, like, 22 when I started getting into it. And then when I started reading things and, like, reading up on history and learning a lot more, I started realizing, like, holy fuck. Like, what else do you say?
Yeah.
No, yeah, it's just mind blowing how much you don't know. You don't know how much you don't know until you know it.
Yeah, it's like you don't know that. Like,
It literally is like the Dunning-Kruger effect is so real.
Yeah, you can just follow the trail back to like the.
Until I started really getting to a point where I was like pretty fucking smart. I always felt like I was smart, and now that I think that I guess I am like compared to your average, like pretty knowledgeable. Now I know I'm retarded.
Yeah, that's the thing. I used to be like, yeah, I'm a pretty fucking smart guy, and then now I'm like, I barely ever say that because I'm like, I don't really. There's so much shit.
It's like I'm smart if you put me in like a Walmart in Cicero, but if you put me in like fucking Harvard, like.
Well, and this is what
I'm not fucking the smart guy anymore. You know?
What I say to people is, I'm learned in a very particular field, and I've dabbled in a lot of subjects, and I have a lot of hobbies, but I'm never gonna claim to know everything. Like, I have interest in specific things that I can claim to be some level of an aficionado at.
Yeah,
but
like there are certain things I have like infantile knowledge at.
But
please don't ask me anything about like chemistry or something.
Yeah, but like that's the thing is somebody's like, oh, so what does this mean? I'm like, I don't fucking know anything. Why are you asking me?
I think it's really like that realization you have that like things aren't just black and white.
I don't know.
Knowledge is very compartmentalized too.
Yeah, knowledge is extremely compartmentalized. And I don't.
This is right, this is wrong. And when you get older, it's like not that way anymore. And
Also,
I don't
knowledge and
know-
intelligence aren't the same either.
I don't know is also a very acceptable answer. Is one of the biggest lessons like I learned as an adult that just
you don't have to pretend to know what you're talking about.
yeah,
Yeah,
is
I'd much
'cause-
rather just say I don't know than like
is dipshits who fucking like proclaim some like made up nonsense with absolute confidence are the worst and most miserable people to be around. I can't fucking stand people like that. Like, just say you don't know. Like, have a shred of humility, because you just come across like a massive fucking idiot blowhard when you fucking just act like you know everything. Like, have a shred of humility for once in your life.
My favorite people ever are people that are just so fucking wrong and they're just like cocky almost about like how right they think they are.
Yeah. I don't think I was ever one of those.
I love engaging with them.
Definitely had like a
Well, Doug, you can come to work at my company and take my place, because I'm leaving specifically because one of the guys I work with acts like he's my boss, even though he's not my fucking boss, just because he's like been with the company a little longer than me, and he's so confident about fucking everything, and he just tells everybody what to do. He's such a huge piece of shit. But he's like,
I pretty much run the night shift at my job too, and I have a lady who's like some soccer mom who tries to undermine my authority all the time, dude.
Yeah, you can.
It's fucking hilarious.
Yeah, come intellectually engage with Jared for me.
I'll
so
like
I
put
can leave
people
my
on
job.
tasks and shit, and I'll come back 5 minutes later, and I'm like, where are they? And I find out she like pulled them off the shit I'm having them do. She's literally just like a sales associate, bro. It's hilarious.
Yeah, like.
But she's like older than everyone else, so she thinks she's like the boss.
I used to be assistant store manager at a Staples. So I used to like run a retail store basically because my boss didn't know what he was doing, so I had to fucking do it. Yeah, so I know how you feel. That fucking shit. Like, the shitty thing about that is like when you work in a place like that and you get to know everybody and then you become the boss. Like, now things change sometimes. Some people get mad.
I worked in like retail for a while, and I was in a similar situation at like a Spencer's store. And fucking, it was weird because I was like, they were my like homies outside of work too, and now I have to boss them around. But I also had a dickhead boss there too who like hated me and fucking did not like the way I worked or like myself in general. And then his fucking boss went over him and fucking promoted me.
Pretty lucky. All the people I worked for respected me, and I think I fostered a good culture there to the point where like I could tell people what to do, and they would.
Oh, by the time I left, he liked me, but that took him realizing he was wrong about me.
When I was in the store, it would run like clockwork. When I was not in the store, basically. And I got sick of that eventually because they hired. So my boss had to move to a different store because that store's manager died. And then they hired this new guy, and they looked at me and said, "Yeah, we're gonna need you to train this dude. He's the store manager. What do you mean? The fuck am I not the store manager? What the hell?"
Nah, your job is actually to train this guy. And we're not gonna pay you anything extra or anything.
The district manager sat me down in a room and said, "If you want to get paid more, you need to get these numbers up, and you don't need to help you." I'm like, "I'm just fine." And then I got the job at Detroit Diesel, and that's like.
See, that's what I was expecting you to say, like either Cat or Detroit Diesel earlier. I didn't expect you to say Benz. Because when I think like Midwest like diesel engines, I'm thinking Detroit Diesel. I'm thinking like fucking Peterbilts and shit.
All like Western startups were all like a third of every transmission, every new Western Star truck that's been made in the past 6 months, I've personally touched it.
Nice.
Yeah, it's really cool. You don't have a feeling of that when you work at Staples.
Yeah.
That's neat. It's a cool place to work.
A big part of like being blue collar is taking pride in your work, and that's something that corporate America has completely fucking destroyed entirely.
Like I get to go to work, and then I'm like, hey, I did a good fucking job today, and I feel good about it.
Blue collar people don't get respected for skill in so many places anymore. We'll just fucking replace you with some guy who literally is just off the street and has a bachelor's degree.
And it's crazy because like I do a good fucking job. Like I don't like the boast, but like I do a good job. We run fucking good. Like it was just me and my other buddy because my boss called off, and we still did 15 more parts than we were supposed to for the day. Like, pretty fucking good at our job. But
Well, that's skilled labor. Like, a little more skilled than most labor, at least.
I guess so, yeah. I mean, it's really not though. It's literally just like it's a lot easier than you think it would be. Anybody.
I mean, I've worked on cars and stuff. Like, I can assemble and.
Yeah, it's literally just slamming gears together.
Another Eden Prime.
Too. Like it's really easy. Like you can teach anybody how to do it, showing them how to do it. But being in a company that, because like
This is coming in
the
handy.
unions in America and a lot of like that kind of stuff that happened back in the workers' rights movements and shit, like a lot of that shit happened in Michigan. A lot of that shit was big here too. You know, like unions were big here, and like they're integrated into the companies here. Like if you work for the United Auto Workers Union, not all unions are good, right? Like the UAW is great. There are some other unions that
like Teamsters got hosed for like the last 10 years or something. It's been pretty bad.
Are really bad. A lot of them suck, but
they just don't have good contracts because the people who are in the unions aren't involved in the leadership of them at all.
And to be honest, the
Hey Sloan, how we doing?
The UAW has a lot of corruption. But like the way, because the companies are built around interacting with the unions on such a fundamental level, like just working there, I get so many more things than you would ever like think of possibly getting at another job in comparison to how hard my job is.
Yeah, just like on average nationally, the average union worker makes 13 grand a year more than the average full-time non-union worker.
I mean, it's not even just the money though. It's like I go there, my job is relatively easy.
Your benefits are like astounding compared to mine also.
My benefits are good, and like there's a lot of like downtime. You don't have, if there's something that's not your job, you do not have to do it. You fucking sit on your ass. If the thing breaks, you don't have to do your job.
Yeah. You don't have to go like fucking haul shit off the back of the trailer or some
You don't
shit.
have to do anything crazy. You don't have to wear multiple hats. You have a job. If you can't do your job, you're still getting paid to sit there, like because it's not your job. You're getting paid to do a specific job, and that's how it should be. But you know, that keeps me happy, so that when I have to do my job, I do a good job. You know what I mean? Like that's the whole reason I do such a good job, is because my fucking work does that for me. It's just crazy that like, I don't know, it's really changed a lot of shit for me.
People want jobs they can, you know, be proud of and actually live off of in non-poverty. You'd be surprised how good workers are. Get it?
Yeah.
That's why it's such a out-of-touch boomer fucking take. It's like I almost want to launch people into the sun. People don't want to work. It's like, please fucking go fuck yourself. Have you even been part of the workforce in 15 years, you fucking dinosaur?
Yeah, so it's that whole thing. Like my labor right now, and I'm not sure I've talked to you about this yet, Doug, but I'm sure you could probably infer by how I talk about my job. My labor is being taken advantage of right now, and then like this fucking asshole that I work with has the nerve to get in my face and scream that I don't want to be here half the time. Like, yeah, no shit, I have no benefits. You're paying me $19.75 an hour to climb fucking rock walls and risk my goddamn life. Like I'm being taken advantage of. Of course I don't want to fucking be here. I'd rather work for a legit company that's actually.
Is that guy even your boss?
No, like I said, he's a coworker. He can't serve me my walking papers, although I wish he fucking would.
He needs to piss off then.
Yeah, fuck off. No, like I said, and I said this as soon as I get a fucking invitation to a new job, and I'm looking hard. As soon as I get an invitation, I'm walking. No fucking 2 weeks. Just sorry. Your guy claimed he spoke for you, Mr. Bossman. He said he was your voice, and he told me to fucking hit the road. So by extension, you told me to hit the road. So fuck off. See ya. Like, I will tolerate a great many indecencies for my job, but just being fucking straight up directly disrespected like that, not a fucking chance in hell. Especially when I'm already like on the back foot and being taken advantage of. Won't fucking tolerate that.
That's one of the things that really was nuts about the union for me, and how different the environment was. Because like, if someone comes up to you and fucks with you, you can just like, he can't do that to you. Like nobody can do that. Like your supervisor that works for the company cannot come up to you and start screaming.
Yeah, there's just like literally no Yeah, there's no oversight because it's such a small company. It's basically just a guy running shit out of his garage, and he's not even there half the time. So he just lets the loudest, most obnoxious asshole have the run of the place.
Yeah, like the company can't fuck with you, but like if other people you work with are fucking with you, you are absolutely able to like tell him to go fuck himself, and he cannot tell you what to do. He can't. Like.
Yeah. Well,
You can just say,
like
"No,
I said, I just need to get something else lined up, and then I'm fucking out of there.
Yeah, I hope for the best for you, man.
Thanks, man. I really, I just really, fucking.
I know what it's like to be there, bro. Staples fucking.
Oh, classic Doug phone moment.
Yeah.
Yeah, but it's just that's just one of those things. Like I'm being disrespected and taken advantage of. Like I haven't felt this bad about a job since I fucking worked in retail, and supposedly like this is what my college education got me. Like fuck off, dude.
Isn't it great when you get a bachelor's degree and they try to hit you with the $19 an hour?
No, yeah, it's awesome. I love it.
You make what I make to be at fucking Walmart, bossing around teenagers.
I mean, I get paid 15. Well, 16 and a half, but that's different for where I live.
Is it really that different there? Like, what's your rent situation like?
I pay $400 a month for rent with living with 2 people.
What? Oh.
That's when I live with my parents.
That's pretty similar here.
Me and my brother both paid $400, but if me and Ashley were to get our own place.
Thankfully, the nice thing is, even though I'm live streaming on Twitch, I can talk as much shit about my job as I want, because none of them are gonna watch me on Twitch.
Yeah.
This guy got a Pokemon tattoo.
And if they do, and if they do hear me, fine.
They can
whatever.
fuck off.
Yeah, walk me again. I fucking dare you. Walk me. Send me. I'm ready. I'm ready to go. Just give me the excuse, and I'm gone.
This guy's literally a class trader. Tell him he's a fucking retard, and he needs to actually have solidarity with the people he works with.
This is Talizora Vasnimanaraya.
Nah, he's probably some bootstrapper dickhead who's like mad at the world because his life sucks.
That's exactly what he is.
I've worked with so many like
nah, this dude's
dipshits like that.
This dude's a sociopath. He just ego trips and just wants to be the only important person on the job and be like just be a piece of shit to everybody. It's just what he gets off on.
People like that. I used to do construction.
Oh yeah, no, that's his background is like construction and like arboriculture, like you know, like doing like getting in the tree care bucket and like cutting down limbs from the trees and stuff like that.
Oh yeah. Yeah, I used to work for a company like that.
Yeah, it's those kinds of. He's one of those kinds of guys. He's one of those kinds of guys who has basically no actual pull, no weight, and no importance in the world. So he just gets off on being mean to people he works with.
Talizora told me a lot about you.
Well, see, the best part about that was that me and Dylan worked there. Well, I would work with him sometimes, right? But Dylan's dad owns the company, and Dylan is like the one who does. Dylan is the one that actually goes and bids on jobs. He's the one that actually runs the company, right? Like he does the actual shit. So, like, whenever those guys, like, mouth off, Dylan's right there, just talk shit, he'll fucking just yell at him. It's so fucking funny.
Yeah, but...
Like, if people just start, like, not working or something, he'll be like, bro, you need to fucking go home. Fuck you.
And, like, literally, John has mentioned that, like, he's gonna, like, ask around where he works, and, like, I'd make less, and I wouldn't even have, like, any benefits, but I'd actually be happier working for like the company that John works for if it just means I get to get away from these fuckheads. Because again, it's not that I don't want to work. I just don't want to work for somebody who's going to take fucking advantage of my labor and not give me anything in return.
That's fair. Wait, what does John do?
He does landscaping, but he's been with them for a while, so he makes like good money there with them. Is John on mute right now?
No, I'm here. I get paid.
Okay.
A decent amount of money to sit on a lawnmower.
Oh, I'm here. I get paid.
Yeah, but no, it's just one of those things where it's not about my work ethic just coming from me being fucking lazy or whatever. My work ethic comes from how well I feel like I'm being treated by whoever I'm working for. If you're fucking giving me shit and I feel like I'm just being fucking used, obviously I'm gonna fucking half-ass it because you're half-assing your commitment to me, so why am I gonna invest 100% in a job that's not giving me 100% back?
Yeah, well,
probably having another meeting with Joe soon about my future at the company, so this is probably like another stepping stone. No, not fired.
I'm just joking. The last time one of my friends said that, I said, "You're fired," and you literally got fired.
Damn, that's crazy.
Yeah, it was Tyler Drake. He's like, "Oh, we're having a meeting tomorrow." I'm like, "Dude, you're getting let go."
I
And then
haven't
he came
talked to
home the next
Tyler in
day, and he's like,
forever.
"I just got let go, man."
I haven't talked to Tyler in forever. How's he doing?
He got let go. He's doing alright, dude. Tyler's life has, like, no pressure at all, dude. He lives at home with his parents, doesn't pay rent, is not expected to have, like, any kind of shit tier job or do anything. Like, they just... When he was in college, he didn't have to work, dude. I have, like, don't know anyone who didn't have to work when they were in college except him.
I didn't have to work when I was in college. I just did full-time college and just lived off of fucking government bucks.
Oh, dude, that's just, like, you're gonna pay for that later. Believe me.
I really actually won't. It was actually, like, pretty inexpensive. It was, like, 30-something thousand total, and it's that... And my,
Oh yeah, you went to a SUNY school, didn't you?
Yeah, and my repayments and my repayment plan is fucking income adjusted, so I'm only paying like $210 a month, and I don't even have to start paying yet because they kept deferring it. And 10,000 of that got cut down, so I really won't be feeling that. Don't worry.
20 grand debt is still like a lot of debt to have, just so you didn't have to work for a couple of years.
It's there, sure, but I mean, like, if I was just working some gay-ass wagey job, like, how much really would I be saving? That's just something that's just gonna hover around me for a few years, but it's manageable, because it's just, like, a couple hundred every month, which for a guy who's, like, for a guy like me, who supposedly in, like, a month or so, I'm gonna be working more of, like, a fucking, like, science job. That's something I noticed when I started, like, looking around for something new, is that in the area we live in, there's actually, like, a good number... I mean, you should probably expect it, because, you know, we live near a city, but there's actually a good number of, like, science labs in Syracuse. Like, there's, like, science places that do, like, tons of environmental research, so I'm sure one of these places will be happy to pick me up.
Yo, Doug, does Tyler play Faz?
Yeah.
We should play with him sometime. Have fun.
Technically, I'm no
Down. We just got him into it.
Hell yeah.
He's my fucking boy. I don't... His
Well, you
parents
and
are
Pat
really
showing
cool.
the ropes? You and
I
Pat
just still
showing
can't
the
believe
ropes?
that they didn't make it work in college, dude. It was never implied in my life. It's like, you gotta have a job, dude.
It's an old ship.
Yeah, I gotta have a job. I'm sorry.
Pretty much everyone has always told me that. There was like a straight year of my adult life, though, where I was a loser with no job because I was having like a full-on mental breakdown and I was like on drugs and shit.
I wish I could do more to help.
I became an alcoholic really bad, but
the trial requires that I be officially
Yeah, well that was my main problem.
They're charging you with...
I was supporting myself though through other means.
That's insane. I never brought anyone on board.
Yeah, you worked for a man named Curtis, and he gave you all your money.
Yeah, I was working for Curtis.
Technically, I'm under orders to place Tally's order under arrest pending the hearing. So,
Hell
Tally,
yeah.
you're confined to this ship until this
Well-
trial is over.
Next, I mean, play Multiverses.
Preparations got
Oh
underway as
shit,
soon as
that's
you
what I've been
arrived.
playing.
The hearing's being held in the Garden Plaza.
I've been playing Shaggy and Garnet.
I have Shaggy, Batman, Harley Quinn, like level 15 or some shit. I got them like
Nice.
I played a shit load. When I loaded up the beta, like the pre-season, I finished the whole fucking battle pass. Like I fucking.
Wait, already? Damn, dude.
Not this one. The one before this one. The one that was only like a couple weeks long. I played the fuck out of it.
I played for like the first few days, and I haven't really touched it. The last day I played was the day they put Rick out, or Morty, whatever, whichever one it was.
I haven't played much since the first season launched, but that's because I've been playing Final Fantasy and fucking Total War. Because the new Immortal Empires came out, and that's the best fucking strategy game ever. Bro.
My classes started again, so I've just been doing that. Then I get out and I have to work until like 10.
Wait, Ron.
I work from fucking 10 at night to 6 a.m.
I'm afraid I did.
Oh, shit.
The Admiralty Board moved to have you tried under that name, given your departure from Nima.
Yeah.
You're an admiral.
Pleasure meeting
Does
you,
that mean
Dylan.
you're one of the judges?
Yeah, nice meeting you, man.
Afraid not.
Yeah. I sent you
My
a friend
history with
request,
Tally and her father forced me to recuse
Oh yeah,
myself.
I'll see you guys later.
I imagine Father had to do the same.
Word up.
You'll see inside. For my part, I moderate and ensure that the rules of
Shut up.
I just realized at the end that I never got his name.
I guess we should get started. Does Tally have a defense counselor? Someone who speaks for her side?
What's his name?
She does, Captain Shepard. She is part
Justice.
of your crew now.
What's up?
Recognized by Quarian law. And
What's your
remember,
friend's name again?
An accused is always
Oh.
represented by his or her
The one who
ship's
just
captain.
left? Oh, that was Jake.
Yeah. Oh, his name's Jake? Okay.
So, you would actually
I figured,
speak for my
Doug, that
defense.
as soon as you and Jake were in the same room, you guys would hit it off famously. I'm glad I was not wrong.
Oh, he's pretty cool.
Well, you guys are so fucking similar, it's insane.
Yeah. I can kind of sense that.
Both worked for a man named Curtis, a businessman.
A businessman named
Value.
Curtis.
A man of esteemed value.
John, please let me work for you.
Curtis immediately flunks out day 2.
I said to John when John was like, let me see if maybe there's a place for you in case you really just need to ditch that old job. And I was like, thank you. I promise I won't be Curtis. I promise I'm not Curtis.
Day one of that guy trying to sell weed, he's gonna sell a dime bag to a cop and then say my name.
Imagine Curtis Curtis would just get robbed, Doug, okay?
If that dude had to sell anything hard like coke or something, I would already be in jail for 3 years right now.
Ask for a better counselor.
Just even if I had a
I
lawyer.
don't think he'd sell to a cop, Doug. I think he'd just get murdered and killed on the streets. Don't worry about it.
Yeah, he would try to sell to some black dude named like Two Tone or some shit and get like shot in the face.
I promised that I would not delay you.
They used to live like a block outside of the hood too. That was hilarious, bro. On the Highland there.
Yeah, oh my god. The rent there was like, I don't know how much it was per month. It was a lot though. It was like an insane amount.
They had a lot of house. Bro, they had a
cost-
professional $6,000 gas cooking.
Yeah, but they paid more.
I those when I worked in restaurants.
I think they paid more in rent than like a mortgage. Like
Probably 1,800 or some shit for that.
that house, I think it was
That's
closer
a pretty
to
serious
2,000.
house.
I think it was like 2,000-ish. I think.
Holy shit!
I don't know how much. They're still out. They're still out in the city paying like bananas rent. I don't get it.
Captain to defend herself against a charge of treason.
I don't understand why they want to live in the city of Syracuse, bro. The city of Syracuse is a
That's
fucking
why I
dump.
don't like hanging out with them anymore. I hate driving into the city.
I love the city of Syracuse, but that's because I'm a fucking scoundrel.
Yeah, I know. I know, Doug. That's why you like to be there. I hate being there. I don't belong there. I stand out immediately.
Yeah, you're like white.
Yeah, no, I am Irish. What are you gonna? What can I do?
I had a girl
about
at my job tell me I'm the coolest white boy she ever met, and I just looked at her like and immediately code switched, and I was like, "What's that supposed to mean?"
When Tally helped me,
And she's like, "No, I don't mean it like that."
her actions spoke for themselves.
I was like, "Nah, I'm just fucking."
Without her, none of you would be alive to put her on trial today.
I was like, "Oh, I sound like I've spent a lot of time in the hood." That's probably because I have.
Tally, you're accused of bringing active guests to the migrant fleet. What say you?
The house they live in right now is just an awful
Fleet while
place.
serving on the Normandy.
To clarify, Shepard, Tali isn't accused of bringing back entire units, only parts that could spontaneously reactivate.
Like they just gotta try
I
to
would
get
never
out of the
send active
city.
guests to the fleet.
I don't get
Everything
it.
I sent was disabled and harmless.
Then explain how
It can't be
the
cheaper.
lab ship where your father was working.
What are you talking about?
It all started with like Justin living in like another slumlord house in Syracuse.
Killed everyone on the Alarai.
This guy who like
John, you're the coolest white boy I ever met.
What's that supposed to mean?
Nothing.
Like the guy who owned it was like called like Wolfgang, or his last name was like Wolfgang or something. He was like some white guy. His name was like, and he just owned a bunch of like slumlord houses
Safest course would be to simply destroy the ship.
in like of course, this is like in the hood and once, so like,
I'm looking for my
bro,
father, you
rent out the first, get the first house to rent out, and like the fucking landlord, Syracuse.
You know the Westcott neighborhood?
Maybe killing a
Yeah, I've been there before.
We do not accuse Tali of aiding.
So, one guy owns like blocks and blocks
You will attempt to retake
of the Westcott area, and he rents it out as student housing. And he's notorious as being the landlord who never returns a single security deposit. And his wife, guess what she does? Drumroll, please. She's a Jewish property lawyer.
Yeah.
Yeah, they're just the pillars of our community. Ugh.
And I don't get why those guys want to live in the city anymore.
Oh my god. This bitch, I follow a Twitter account called Mug Shorties, and it's fucking hot chicks getting their mug shots taken. And this chick got arrested for a double DUI, arrested at 12:45, bailed out at 2:20, and arrested at 4 a.m. for a DUI by the same officer. And this guy comments, "That cop fucking spawn camped her."
I just don't know, Shepard.
Bruh.
I need to find out.
Let's go.
Right. The sooner we get to the Alarai, the sooner we'll know what
Yeah,
happened.
true.
Shepard, the secondary docking hangar is through the conclave chamber where you are now. The
It's crazy though. That's Syracuse. So.
Understood.
Whatever Get are on the Alarai have likely built more
Off. Every house looks just completely run down. It's such a depressing place to be.
Where is?
Syracuse.
Oh, yeah, so it's just kind of a ruddy place.
You set me up, Shala. You told Captain Donna not to say anything? I don't hear that my father may be dead until I'm in the trial? Why?
The admirals needed to hear the shock in your voice, Tali. Otherwise, they might not have let you try to retake the Alarai. That is your best chance at recovering evidence that can exonerate you. I am sorry. We cannot afford sensitivity, Tali.
Are the judges that set on finding her guilty?
Anything involving the Geth is a live wire, Shepard.
And then, you got Dana there at the house still.
And Tali Zora for stopping Saren. Admiral Koresh.
He's like,
How's Dana? I love Dana, but how's Dana not offed himself? He's quite possibly one of the most depressed human beings I've ever met.
I know. I'm surprised at how he still is able to soldier on each day somehow. It amazes me.
You caught that. Yes,
But he just drinks whenever he gets home, because, I mean, what else is he gonna do?
Trying to determine whether to focus on colonial development or attempt to retake the homeworld.
You're thinking of war? With the Geth?
I am not, Tali, but others are.
We should move on.
Good luck on the Alarai.
And he had that, like, big health scare a couple of years ago, remember that?
Oh, yeah.
Then Connie's still around, and, like, the
I know, I've been monitoring her from inside her car engine.
Yeah, well, no, you can't anymore. Her car's been, like, taken away effectively.
I'm more concerned with
Why? Because she's, like, lost her mind?
No, the brakes were going bad, and she never got it fixed, and she, like, crashed into a tree or something, and the car got, like, towed somewhere, blah, 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 and then, like, I guess it's just in a lot or something now.
Huh?
Connie doesn't seem to care that much about
Sorry
it.
if I came on too strong.
She seems indifferent or something, who knows.
Admiral Corris needs to know.
It's amazing how, like,
universe backs down when he snaps at it.
You believe I
Connie, like, sold, you know, remember the house, and she, like, literally lived in a hotel for, like, 3 months, like, and just, like, bought as many luxury things as she could.
She's kind of a piece of shit.
She really is just a massive piece of shit.
Hang in there, kid.
Thank you, Admiral.
Connie is the worst person ever.
There are, like, times in my life I feel like I could have been a Dana at some point where I'm just, like, with some awful chick who's just, like, bad for me in general and is gonna drag me down with her.
You just like
This is
stay
Admiral's
with it for
Ditch
some
the
like
bitch. You don't have kids with them.
yeah.
I take no pleasure in this, Tali, truly.
He kind of fucked that shit up a long time ago.
Our fleet.
And he put his dick in her a little too long. You gotta pull out, my friend.
Only that you should have let us decide.
Well, even then, he's already paid off his child support. He has no like, you know.
Yeah, he still fucking gives her shit. It's hilarious.
Yeah.
All she does is cheat on him and talk about how he's like not a man and shit. It's like, bitch, I'd beat the fuck out of you if I were Dana.
You and the other admirals appear to have some disagreements beyond Tali's trial.
You are correct.
And like, you're also just actively like destroying your like kid's mental state who lives with you still.
They would see our fleet
The interactions between two of them is so cringe. She'll just call them at like any point and just be like, "What are you doing?"
Yeah,
There's
I
just
know.
like 20
Trust
seconds
me.
of 20 seconds of silence on the line. Oh, I just thought I would call you.
I know.
It's so fucking weird. I don't know. I've never had such an awful force thing. Oh my god. And she knows I don't like her. It's funny.
Yeah, no.
I sold her really shitty weed. I've like never done that to anyone.
As you
I
should.
do not agree with you.
I just wanted her to stop hitting me up because she's getting fucking annoying.
Goodbye, Talizora. Be well.
He is annoying.
Surprised to hear you
I don't
say
like to sell people that are like straight up schizophrenic weed either.
I just think
She should not be smoking pot. You should have seen the pipe she used to smoke it, dude.
You should have seen the pipe she smoked. What if you say the coolest things, Doug?
Bro, it's literally like the most like fucked up pipe I've ever seen in my life. First of all, it was like flat like a credit card or some shit, and like the amount of pot you could fit in it is like just like the most minuscule amount ever. And then I pulled out just like a standard bowl, and I'm like, "Do you want to smoke a bowl or some shit?" She's like, "No, I can't." It's like, bro, like, you just smoke pot like a 12-year-old. You're like 7.
I have no clue what the fuck Diane and Jenny are gonna fucking do with their lives.
I do like how I'm still streaming on Twitch, so we're just talking about like all these fucking people we know on.
Diane, I don't know. Diane will figure it out. But
It doesn't
Jenny's
matter, I don't
like
care.
just trying to be on like disability, I think, at this
I
point.
think Jenny is technically. I think Jenny has been for a while.
I don't really know enough about Jenny's mental state to know if they should have a job or not, dude. It's like, probably, I can't imagine them working. I'll just say that.
I mean, like, Dana's just not gonna be a pipe.
Concussive shot ready.
In some kind of way, they are like kind of Chris Chan tier, though. It's like they just can't really have a normal job or something. Because they'll just like tweak at the indignity of like having to take the trash out or something. Like, I don't know. I've listened to them talk about their jobs, and it's like just soft. Like, I've had to endure so much more shit in my life and just put up with it, dude. Part of being a fucking wagey is just taking the piss, dude.
Yeah, you just have to take shit on the nose, or take shit on the chin sometimes, and you know, and if you want better for yourself, that's kind of what the idea of like going to fucking college is for and shit.
You can't just like, oh, I quit that job because my supervisor was mean because they discriminated against me because I took 30-minute bathroom breaks every hour. It's like, okay, dude. You're just not taking your own shit seriously, so why are you expecting anyone else to?
Yeah, and that's kind of why I've started to take my job unseriously, is because the boss doesn't take it seriously. It's like,
Well, if the boss doesn't take it seriously, you need to just move on.
yeah, that's what I'm doing.
It's like, fuck it. Yeah,
no, like
that's why you're right, though. That's why, like,
that fucking guy isn't there half the time. Like, literally, like I said, the boss just lets the fucking loudest, most annoying guy at the company run the place for him most of the time instead. Because, like, so I was...
This is one of the storage units.
I was gone for all of last week, Doug, like Monday through Thursday, and the boss only showed up on the days where we had to do pesticide, and even then the boss didn't put on one of the Husqvarna backpacks. He just filled up a tank on the back of the ATV and rode it around and sprayed shit out of the fucking ATV.
The fuck?
But on the days where we were literally mountain climbing, like putting our fucking necks on the line, like literally risking fucking killing myself for fucking 1975 an hour, he's nowhere to be seen. He's working his fucking cushy nice egg job because he's double dipping into a second job on top of quote unquote owning a business. Like this dude is so unserious about this business that he supposedly has that like, how am I supposed to actually fucking give a shit or put in any of the effort he this guy or his fucking bulldog want me to put in, when it's very clear that this is just going nowhere. This is just an unserious endeavor that's just designed to like entrap like college grads like me into fucking making this guy free money. Like, all work is a mutual relationship between an employer and an employee, and if my employer isn't taking the work seriously, then like how am I supposed to have a go-getter attitude about that shit when I'm just playing fetch? That's something a lot of people need to fucking understand about work, is that like it's if you're not putting in the effort when there's everything is there and available to you to like accomplish the work, and the boss is encouraging you and trying to help you and like is putting in the effort and meeting you halfway, and you're not meeting them back, then yeah, that's on you. But I think there's not really anything wrong with being a little unserious about your job if your quote-unquote boss is
I think what you're getting at is kind of like that the American worker has been programmed to have like no expectations of their boss, but to like just be like, oh, if your job is really shitty, you just need to work 10 times harder to be 10 times more valuable. It's like, okay, dude.
Yeah, well, that's the whole thing, though, is this job isn't valuable.
It worked for me in 1972 when I worked at the printing company.
I'm gaining some experience doing some forestry technician stuff, and that's pretty much the only valuable thing I'm gleaning is the work experience. And maybe some of the certifications I get.
A lot of the time, that's all I ever got out of some of the jobs I had, was I got plenty of work experience. I never got a positive, like, life experience, though.
Yeah, but I'm not. But the whole thing is that I'm trying to get a head start. I'm trying to be the guy that, you know, starts their career at 24.
Yeah. Thinking ahead is smart. It's what you should be doing.
I want to.
There's plenty of people your age that don't.
I mean, I started with the USDA back a while back, and logistically everything about the job was perfect, but it was just so boring, and they had nothing for me to do. I was literally just getting nowhere. Like, they just did not have anything for me to do. I was just a completely superfluous position, and I was so lonely out there in Buffalo, I just wanted to fucking blow my brains out. So I moved back to Syracuse because it was just better for my mental health. Like, was it a very emotionally driven decision? Sure. But, like, I don't regret it, because I've gotten to spend so much, like, I've gotten to do so much cool shit with John since I moved back. It's frustrating because I had the career set up technically there with the USDA. You know, they gave me like full benefits and everything and a retirement plan, because when you go into the USDA, they expect you to be there for life. And I almost would have been, but it was just not. They just weren't. Again, it's that whole seriousness thing. It's very clear they were just looking to put an ass in a seat and didn't have any idea what they were actually going to have that ass do. It was
pretty much. A lot of jobs are. Ugh.
Yeah,
you're just making me like feel bad now about how much I hate work. It's like work should be way more fulfilling than it is ideally, but so many people are even working shittier jobs, dude. It's so awful.
At this point, it's not. I'm not even asking for like the most fulfilling job. I'm just asking for a job that will career me, and I'm okay with. Like here's the thing is I at this point I just want a 9-to-5 that will career me, will give me benefits and will give me pensions and give me a bunch of PTO and all kinds of cool shit as long as I keep working there for 5, 10, 15 years. And in exchange, just have the work not suck and treat me like a human being. And right now my current job is failing on all of those levels. am not being treated fairly, I'm not getting paid enough, I'm not salaried, and I don't have any benefits. So why the fuck would I stick around? I'm trying to build a real career. But like I said, that's why I'm feeling a little bit optimistic, is because there's a lot of science labs and environmental like research firms and environmental engineering firms in Syracuse, and you know that anybody they pick up for like legit science-based shit is going to be there for a long time. So I feel pretty confident about building a career with one of these places if they take me on.
That sounds good, man.
Yeah, and again, it's like at this point, I don't even want to have to love it. It doesn't have to be the most fulfilling thing ever. I just need them to give me a decent enough amount of work.
You're being realistic with it.
Yeah, I just need them to give me a decent enough amount of work to do and career me. Like, you give me enough money, you give me PTO, you give me some bennies, and I will do whatever you ask me to, and as long as the pay is good, I'll do it with no complaint. And again, that was the main thing, is with the USDA, there was nothing to do. And now with this current job, it's that, like, what I'm doing, the work itself, the nature of the work is kind of fun when it's not pesticide. It's what I went to school for. But it's just that everything else around it is so demoralizing and unmotivating. I'm not motivated to help these people because they suck and they treat me like shit. I know what I'm worth. And, like, and again, I'm being realistic. Like, I'm not asking to have, like, the dream job. Because, like, it's so hard to find that out there, and especially here in New York. I'm not asking for the dream job, but at this point, living back in Syracuse, like, I'm perfectly happy just working a 9-to-5 that's just, like, yeah, it's my job. And then I come home, and me and John just, like, hang out and play some games or whatever, and then we do it again tomorrow. It's fine. I don't need a lot to be happy. But fucking people are so cucked and their expectations are so lowered that they're just fucking trained to be okay with being fucking miserable, but I'm not.
Yeah, that's what I was saying earlier with, like, the fucking, you just need to be 10 times more valuable by working 10 times harder, and then you'll get recognized by
no amount of fucking wagey
your boss, who would never recognize you because you're already doing times your job, lower wage.
No amount of fucking wagey brainwashing is ever going to convince me to be okay with the situation I'm in. It just won't happen. I'm not fucking cool with it, and I'm never going to let somebody try to fucking convince me to be cool with it.
It's like they're completely ignoring the old, like, fucking allegory of, like, why fucking buy the cow when you get the milk for free? Why are they going to pay you more when you work twice as hard for less? It's, like, fucking stupid, dude.
The whole point of going to college is that
There's so much anti-worker propaganda that workers have been, like, fed their whole lives.
And the whole point of why I even went to college was, of course, so I could, build a career, go work for, like, a science firm or somewhere like that where my contributions would actually be well rewarded, and it would be and again, work should be a mutually beneficial relationship of a laborer bringing their skills and capabilities to the table for a company, and in exchange the company making sure that that laborer is well taken care of. At least commensurate to their level of education and job difficulty. Like, that's just like the open and shut of it is commensurate pay for the quality of and skill of the work.
I make more than EMTs that can, like, tell if people have heart attacks and shit. And I sort people's online grocery orders for a living.
A guy who
you can tell if someone lacks enough grocery, though. Can an EMT do that?
A guy who can run fast and shoulder check.
Sir, you're lacking celery right now.
A guy who can run fast and shoulder check people really hard makes more than all of us put together. Like, fucking sports stars being so criminally overpaid is, like, one of the fucking things that infuriates me the most. Like, yeah, sure, they get, like, sponsors and ad deals and all this shit, but, like,
they're the backbone of one of America's biggest gambling networks, XD.
I mean, fair enough, I guess.
But gambling. I don't know, pro sports is bullshit, in my opinion.
I mean, but again, that's just kind of
it's cool
like
they can do that, though.
That's part of that American sleaze, though, It's the depravity. Like, of course, like, just the abject depravity of it all is something that draws people in and makes people want to spend a lot of money.
Being a professional ball player is literally like the hood version of working twice as hard to prove to your boss you're a good employee, though.
But
it's like I'm gonna play basketball to get out of poverty. It's like, okay, that worked for like 200 people.
And you know, like, as realistic of an expectation I'm holding, I also do. I think, you know, there's a certain point where people like get main character syndrome into their heads, and like they just start thinking they're more important than they actually are. But I think a certain level of actually like giving a shit about yourself and like at least treating yourself somewhat like a main character really helps like your motivation. Because like for me, I'm in the state I'm in. I'm just like, I'm not gonna let this fucking shit beat me. I'm not gonna let these guys fucking whip me. I'm gonna get what I want because I always get what I want. I might have to temper my expectations and understand that what I want has to be achievable, but I'm gonna get what I fucking want. Because I'm not gonna let these fucking assholes whip me or cuck me. So many people so many fucking people in this country just accept that that's the way things are, and they just let that sort of like level of pessimism sink in. But like, by that same coin,
everything is meant to break you down to that.
Yeah, everything is there to break you down, and it's hard to hold up under that pressure sometimes. Because that's
how can you be intellectually like fucking honest with yourself after a lifetime of that? That's where you get like fucking blue collar neocons, dude. They're fucking salty.
Yeah, they've just betrayed themselves and like the people around them, because that's just like they've just accepted that that's just the way things have to be. But I'm glad I was taught pretty early on, because you know my mom's done like worked a lot of shit jobs when she was younger, and now she works like a really solid like white collar job. And like I see all these success stories in my family and in people around me who like fucking shoveled shit in their 20s and now have like perfectly happy careers in their 30s, and I'm like, yeah, I can do that too. But if that's like all you've ever known, I can get how that just completely fucks your brain. I guess part of it's just a matter of upbringing and perspective.
It's just crazy also because the vast majority of people, even 2 or 3 generations ago, were like not even low, like working class. They were just straight up low class, like as far as money goes and education goes. So we're kind of, a lot of people are starting from the bottom here. Like we're only 2 or 3 generations into people even being educated enough to realize a lot of the chains that bind them. Just like, quite frankly, so much shit in American society that's really bullshit is just so fucking obscure and camouflaged that most people just can't even recognize it unless they're fucking like trained to look for it.
Yeah, and I guess that was part of the whole thing, is that I learned from a decently young age to like watch out for these signs of like propaganda, so I could like avoid being conditioned like that, because once you can recognize shit like that, it's easier to avoid.
How did you get these things?
Like my grandma grew up in a house with dirt floors. When the fucking government said some shit was happening on the radio or something, people fucking believed it, dude. Like, I don't know. People were obviously skeptical of law enforcement and the government, like, especially in like that kind of era, but like talking about like world global politics, dude, like people believed what the government was saying. Largely, especially like broker people.
What's all you're told?
Exactly, they have no access to any kind of information in this world.
It's like I just said. It's like it all just goes back to upbringing. If you're exposed to fucking the zero to hero success stories like I've had with my family, it actually gives you some optimism, some hope for the future. But if all you've ever known is just that constant bitter taste of being on the bottom rung, then that's all you know. And that's just what you think life is like. It's a fucking sad state of affairs, but that's why I do my best to help spread that optimism. That's why I do my best to at least help galvanize people however much I can into at least trying to do okay for themselves. Sometimes you just need, like, you know, an outsider's perspective, and I'm not...
Fuck galvanizing people, dude. We need to Calvinize them. We're going back to Calvinism. Our religious values are what's going to bring us through this. We need to be like the Quakers, bro.
Well, the Quakers and the Calvins were, like, totally different.
I know.
Quakers
I like
were
the
actually-
Quakers quite a bit, honestly.
They were actually
They're pretty chill.
They were pretty okay people. They were very.
A lot of them were considered radicals of their days too.
Yeah, they were very simple and industrious, but very like.
Very anti-slavery, also.
Yeah, they were extremely anti-slavery because they believed in the most fundamental like form of
Human rights.
Yeah, they like New Testament shit about the brotherhood of man and all that shit Jesus said. Like they were all about that. The Calvinists were fucking insane though, because they thought that just all of history was literally already written, and it was just like you just had to fucking be a good little industrious, like wagey slave, and maybe if you were a good boy and literally God decided you didn't do anything wrong, then you didn't do anything wrong, and you get to go to heaven because God decided that you weren't going to do anything wrong in that lifetime, which is just the most fucking insane mode of thinking I've ever heard.
Well, when you look at John Calvin's life, it kind of makes sense. Because I think he was applying it as a personal philosophy to extend to, like, the reasoning of why bad things kept happening. And also, his view on the Jews was kind of hilarious.
Does that salvaged gear give you a clue as to what happened here?
No, I don't know. Shepard,
The guy was just, I don't know, dude.
I passed up great finds because
Martin Luther was really based, though. Like, I gotta give him that.
Or self-repair. I don't know which possibility is worse. That I got sloppy and sent something dangerous, or that Father actually did all this.
Who's running the system diagnostic? I didn't authorize. Oh, Keela. How many get their networked?
I have some good ideas, I think.
Shut it down. Shut everything down. They're in
For
the
big
system.
government.
Yeah. Like I said, I'm keeping realistic expectations, and at this point, I just want a job where I'm taken care of and I can take care of myself, and I'm given enough work to do, and I'm okay with the work. It doesn't have to be anything bigger than that. Just a job commensurate to my fucking bachelor education that's like vaguely somewhat related to my fucking environmental field, which is a lot of things. It could literally be anything environmental. There's so much different kinds of environmental work. Like geology, fucking water quality. That doesn't matter to me at this point. As long as it fucking works for me and it gets me a salary, that's all I give a shit about.
Now what's this?
Because, you know, as long, like, if I get off work at like 4:30, drive home a half hour, I get home at 5 every day, it still gives me like fucking 6-7 hours to enjoy the rest of my day, Monday through Friday. Like, that's good. That's good. That's fine enough for me. I'm happy with that. Because at least those 6 hours I spend after I come home are nice and fulfilling, because I get to, you know, chat with this deranged lunatic named Doug Wicks.
Hell yeah. I'm not okay, dude. I'm just like twisted, man. I'm fucked up, dude.
I'm fucked up, man. I'm so fucked up. I'm so fucked up.
You know, even, I'm just like a darkness inside me, bro.
Dude, like the crimes. I just love doing crimes, bro.
Yeah. I have a whole chapter of my diary called War Crime Ideas.
Dude, that's awesome.
Me too. Except mine was a dream diary, and you know about dream diaries, they become true.
Speaking of internalized darkness, though, joking aside, I think there is a certain level of, like, just fucking, like, angst that fuels me, like this frustration.
Oh,
like that,
totally, dude.
Yeah, like this malcontent that we're always feeling and talking about. Like,
one of the most
fucking...
successful friends I had from my group of friends that were like just fucking like drug addict losers when I was a kid was a guy who changed his entire life by being fueled by spite.
Yeah,
and just being like, everyone told me I was always gonna be a fucking loser, and now who owns a house? Now who has a good job? Yeah. It's like,
no,
bro, like,
yeah, that's me too, man. I'm like fucking furious right now. Like, I'm just pissed off and seething about my current fucking job and like the way I'm being treated. I'm like,
it'll get you pretty far, man.
Yeah, I'm fucking
pissed about your circumstances, man.
Yeah, I fucking hate these people. I fucking hate them. And like I think this shit sucks. This
better to be pissed off than pissed on. When I get mad, I get fucking doing.
Yeah, fury is a very powerful motivator. I'm fucking furious. I hate these people.
That's why I quit one of my last jobs. I was just so pissed. I was like, fucking, I'm changing my whole ass life right now.
The only reason I didn't fucking then and there on the spot fucking quit after the guy got in my face was just because I still need to make that bread from this place for a little while longer until I get something.
Why did he even get in your face? Like,
because I told him, you're not my fucking boss. Stop treating me like I'm a fucking idiot.
Okay.
And he starts trying to fucking assassinate my character, accusing me of like misappropriating company resources based on circumstantial evidence.
Like what?
Because so we do this method called hack and squirt, where you chop like a 1-inch like thick incision into a tree on both sides, and then spray pesticide into it. And it was like, well, Eric sent me pictures of like some trees that just had like some product on them with no cuts. I'm like, dude, these spray bottles spray shit at like a fucking billion miles an hour. Like, these are the most high pressure spray bottles. Like, it probably just splashed everywhere and got into like a fucking yellow birch or something. Like, calm your shit, dude. There's like, there could be any number of reasons. And also, if I was why would I just fucking spray product at a tree without cutting it? First of all, that's a very bold-faced lie that I'd immediately get caught in, because you're assuming I'm lying right now. Like, if I wanted to lie, I'd make it more convincing. Second of all, like, I can get away with a lot of shit, but like wasting the boss's money with the product is not one of those things. And third, like, I'm only reducing one step. Why would I just like only spray when like swinging the axe takes like an extra second? Like, well, like that doesn't save me time. That's not. It'd be such like. That's such a depth of laziness that I couldn't even sink to if I tried. Gotta at least pretend to swing the axe first before I spray it. Dude just fucking sitting there in front of the other coworkers, just screaming in my face and assassinating my character. Like, I won't stand for that fucking shit. I'm just riding this job out until I get something else lined up. But at that exact moment, that was the moment that mentally I'd already quit.
Systems, looking for new ways to overcome Geth resistance to reprogramming.
And if the boss wants to let this guy be the fucking guy who's like in charge when the boss isn't around, then God help the fucking poor bastards who work there when this guy is actually given some real authority. Fucking ego-tripping maniac.
My kind of guy.
Do you think testing weapons on the Geth was...
Sounds like, it reminds me of some guy from the 30s I really used to admire.
One of my other coworkers already has something else lined up, and it's just fucking like booking it. He's out of there for the same reason that he just can't stand working with this guy and his weird ego trips. It's just such a fucking mess of a quote-unquote company. I can't even call it a company. It's an outfit. It's such a mess of an outfit. Like, it's just fucking like...
It's like a privately owned company.
Yeah, but it's basically just some chuckle fuck running out of his garage who incorporated it to protect his ass from liability.
Huh?
This other
He's
guy
a chuckle fuck, huh?
Yeah, I mean, he fucking like lied about like half the shit that like he promised would, you know, like for example.
Sounds about right.
He was like, "Oh, you're only gonna have to show up to the office every once in a while just for like check-ins and like if we need the work truck or stuff." I'm going there like half the time, if not 75% of the time, and it's in Whitney Point, which is like an hour and 10 away from where I live. Like, yeah, dude, and you're not gonna pay me for gas for doing that? Cool. You just fucking lie about that to me. See if I stick around. Like, I love people like this too, because they fucking think that they can just get away with this. Like, I'm just gonna fucking sit there and take it once you got me in your clutches, once you got your fingers around me. Like, yeah, that's how the human brain works. I'm just gonna accept this now. Like, fuck you, fuck you. Get the fuck out of my face. Get out of here, dude. I can like my entire joining your employ was predicated on the idea that you would actually do the things you said you would do and promised you would do, because again, that's what work is a mutual agreement. And if you violate the terms of that agreement, then I have no reason to uphold my end. I can just leave whenever I want. That's the other thing too, is like I'm not even obligated to give you a 2 weeks notice. I can just go.
That's why I like jobs I don't care about, because I can literally just fight my coworkers if I want. Me and this dude I worked with at Cracker Barrel, Shamar, fought one time. It's fucking awesome.
Could any of that data clear your name?
Doubtful. This is mostly results data, effects of different disruptive.
You can tell he was trying to like fucking keep it real, kind of thing.
They may have been.
He's like, "Oh, you want to step outside, boss?" I'm like, "Okay, let's go." The second I said okay, he's just like, "Oh."
When father was
I didn't think the white boy was gonna say yes.
What was all this, father? You
Let's
promised
fucking
you'd build me
go.
a house on the homeworld. Was this going to bring us back home?
Well, I don't like getting in scuffles just because that's a bad look, and also my right arm was fucked up.
Oh, dude, I worked at a fucking restaurant when I did that, making $14 an hour.
Yeah, I mean, that's fair. I at least have to act I at least have to act dignified because I at least have to keep making bread from this job a little while longer until I get something else lined up.
I would never encourage anyone to be like me, dude. Please don't be like me.
We should keep moving.
Right.
Just reminiscing on the days when I really didn't give a shit. Better times and
Take that.
like one way.
I try to at
Maybe.
least pretend to give a semblance of a shit just for the sake of professionality, but this is just the most unprofessional bullshit outfit I've ever been involved with. So I'm really, like I said, I'm only really staying with them out of a courtesy to myself and not to them. I don't know them shit at this point.
Yeah.
I'm not.
I mean, like, fuck them, but like, you gotta eat.
Yeah, it's like, yeah, exactly. Fuck them, but I got.
That was the advice my parents gave me when I was a kid. Was never like fucking,
Yeah.
and they still give it to me as an adult when I talk about how I hate my job. So they're like, never quit your job until you have something else lined up.
Yep.
Solid advice, man.
Yeah, you know, sometimes you just have to suffer some indignities in life, and as irritating as that is, as long as you keep trying, you will find something better. I will stomach these indignities for as long as I have to, but no longer. You just gotta keep spirit. Just can't lose faith, man. As gay and like platitudinal as that sounds, that's really all you gotta do. Is just keep the faith.
That's just how it goes.
First entry. Our hacking attempts failed. The Geth have an adaptive consciousness. Hack one process and the others.
Something funny about like Plato, just kind of just out of nowhere. But like in Greece, it was customary for all of the students of teachers to kind of like release their work under the name of the teacher. So you have about 400 years or so of stuff credited to Plato.
That's funny.
Yeah. Same thing with like Aristotle and Socrates and a lot of those people.
Maybe you wouldn't. They're wrong. You wouldn't just die like this. You wouldn't leave me.
Hey, come here.
Bro, I really want like cheesy pasta right now. Get some cheesy pasta.
Yeah, that would be pretty nice.
Maybe some like fettuccine alfredo.
He would have known I'd come.
Please.
Maybe he left a message.
Tally, if you are listening, then I am dead. The Geth have gone active. I don't have much time. The main hub will be on the bridge. You'll need to destroy it to stop their VI processes from forming new neural links. Make sure Hangerl and Darozen see the data. They must.
Thanks, Dad.
Do you want to get your father back to the shuttle?
No. Leave him. The mission comes first. It's what he would have wanted. Come on, let's finish this.
I will say, as fun as being Renegade Shepherd is, there's just something very instinctual about like when one of your crewmates is very upset and just like needing to hit that fucking Paragon option with them. I'm just like, I need to be nice to them.
Have you ever met... Oh, I'm so stupid, dude. I was gonna ask if you ever met Pat. Have you ever heard Pat talking about Randy?
Oh no. God, that fucking guy. Oh my god.
Pat hasn't worked at that job in like 5 years.
Pat's
and he has like
talked about
literal
it.
PTSD about that, dude.
Pat's talked about a lot of tards. Like, you gotta narrow it down with this guy.
Randy takes the cake. Was this like
Randy Bobandy?
Yeah.
So what was up with Randy?
He essentially was in the same exact predicament you're in, with some guy that was not his boss, but was like the head honcho according to like the owner, and like he just harassed everyone off the job.
Yeah, no, so basically the same situation where everybody
Multiple
just
people
leaves.
quit because of him.
Yeah,
Pat's
everybody
dad beat the shit out of him one time. Pat's dad used to work there. Like, no one liked this fucking guy. He's just a fucking unhappy, like, dickhead.
Linked to the main hub Father mentioned.
Divorced like 5 times. Just a real fucking piece of shit.
Just a piece of shit loser, miserable, negative about everything, brings the atmosphere down, takes it out on everybody else. Just a fucking poisonous human being.
And he was one of those guys about his boss's dollar all the time. He's like, he wouldn't take breaks. And he, like, would get pissed if other people take breaks and shit, which is, first of all, that's, like, against labor laws to try to, like, fucking coerce your employees not to take breaks. Like, what the fuck?
No. We have to. I know. This is terrible, Shepard. I don't want to know that he was part of this.
Do we have enough parts to bring more online?
Yes, the new
Well, that's part of why I'm hoping for.
2 more gets to the network.
We're nearing a breakthrough on
That's why I'm hoping for one of these science jobs, though, because as asshole-ish as it sounds, it's a lot easier to get along with a bunch of white-collar people at jobs than getting along with some fucking negative Nancy blue-collar guys sometimes. And I hate to be that guy, because obviously I want to show some working-class solidarity, but sometimes there are just some really, like, downer, shitty people.
They're the ones that are being class traders, bro, not you. You don't have to feel shitty about, like, not vibing with the dude who's being a fucking class trader.
That's true.
Sounds like this is the evidence we were looking for.
Everything here is his fault. I tried to pretend it didn't point to him, but when this comes up in the trial, we can't tell them. Not the admirals, not anyone.
Tally, without this evidence, you're looking at exile.
You think I don't know that? You think I want to live knowing that I can never see the fleet again? But I can't go back into that room and say that my father was the worst war criminal in our people's history. I cannot.
Rael Zora doesn't need you to worry about him anymore. You heard him say he didn't want you to be caught in the politics.
You don't understand, Shepard. They would strike his name from the manifest of every ship he ever served on. He would be worse than an exile. He'd be a
terror of
people.
Yeah, I'm gonna go
For
make
children
that
as a
bread,
monster
actually.
in a cautionary
Peace out, guys.
tale.
It's bread
I
time.
can't let all
Bread
the
making
good he
time.
did be
Meat.
destroyed for this, Shepard.
We're not going to decide anything here.
It's bread.
Let's see what the Admirals say once we get back.
Let's get bread.
You're my captain in this hearing, Shepard. It's your decision.
Sloan just said,
Please,
I know all about that. I've known a
destroy
lot
what
of
my
really
father
shitty
was.
blue-collar guys,
Come
and they
on.
like to attack me because
If we
I
wait
just
too
want to be
long, they'll
honest.
decide we're already dead.
Sounds about right.
Yeah, there's just a lot of fucking, like, class trader blue-collar guys who
You get a
just
lot
want to be the fucking middle manager and just fucking slave drive all the other blue-collar guys because that's the best they're ever going to get in life. Whereas if you're degreed and you're working with a bunch of other white-collar people, even if one of them has a bit more of like a fucking like alpha-type personality, like at least there's a general semblance that you're all there as colleagues.
It's just the schoolyard archetypes playing out in adults. You're always gonna work with the guy who's like the dude at the end of class who was like, "Didn't you assign homework?" That guy's probably.
Yeah, no, like I like when that guy was getting in my face, I was just really resisting the urge to just call him a fucking teacher's pet. That's just what it is, dude.
Very
Like,
well.
stop fucking
Is the
licking this guy's
Admiralty Board
boots.
prepared to render judgment?
We cleared the Geth from
Playing Mass Effect.
It should be
There
safe
you
for
go.
your people to return.
Thank you. We sincerely appreciate your efforts to aid the Quarian people.
Did you find anything on the Alarai that could clarify what happened there?
Shepard, please.
Does Captain Shepard have any new evidence to submit to this hearing?
Look at them. All of you. They don't care about Tali. All they care about is their war with the Geth. Tali risked her life for all of you. On Haestrom, hell, on the Citadel when she stopped Saren. She deserves better than this.
If Commander Shepard has no new evidence, I suggest we render judgment.
Ace Attorney.
Yeah, no, I kind of love this shit.
Shepard is right. Tali saved me. She doesn't deserve to be exiled.
Damn straight. Tally's done more for this fleet than you assholes ever will. You're pissing on everything I fought for, everything Tali fought for. So if you exile her, you might as well do the same to me.
Me too.
Exiles all of them.
Tali Zora, in light of your history of service, we do not find sufficient evidence to convict. You are cleared of all charges. Commander Shepard, please accept these gifts in appreciation for you taking the time to represent one of our people.
It was an honor to speak for my friend, Admirals.
This hearing is concluded. Go in peace, Tali Zora Vas Normandy. Kila Solai.
Well, Sloan, I have a pretty decent amount of working experience with the white-collar field because I was with the
can't believe you
USDA
pulled
for
that
a
off.
while.
What
As
you
boring
said,
as it was, everybody at least
I've
holds
never
their
had
peace a lot
anyone
more,
speak like that
and there's
on my
generally a
behalf.
lot less of that
Thank you
fucking,
for
like,
being there for my
class
father
trader
and me.
malcontent bullshit, where
Even
there's
when-
just like some fucking guy
Thank you.
trying to slave drive everybody else, because everybody there at least makes good enough money and is like generally has the difference with a lot of white collar shit is that they get up to more like weird shit in their domestic life where they sort of have bad shit they have going on at home and then they bring whatever they've got going on at home to work sometimes. But generally that sort of like bad mood every once in a while doesn't seep into and pervade the entire work atmosphere in a way that like the blue collar class trader will. It's just a different environment. It is what it is, but I generally just am...
People think they're gonna get brownie points that are gonna elevate them to a higher tier if they like behave a certain type of way.
I will say generally the white collar malcontents are more cutthroat. They'll fucking hold their peace more because they'll just try to undermine you in a much sneakier way.
Depends on what your job is in a hospital, either, also.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, it depends. Like,
If you're like an administrator, there's definitely a clear pecking order in hospitals, too. Like, even simply, like, between, like, CNAs and RNs and stuff, there's definitely, like, a hierarchy where people will be, like, fucking weird towards you.
Yeah. But generally, one of the main reasons I want to go to work in more of like the scientific field, and I learned that just like as much as I enjoy forestry, I don't think like just being in like a straight up like forest technician or like more of like like that sort of thing might not generally appeal to me is just because I generally am just a lot happier in the presence and working with academians. Like, I'm fine, like, shooting the shit and working with, like, you know, like, brass tacks kinds of guys if they're the kind of guys I get along with. The problem is just that you'll also get a lot of those really, again, you'll get a lot of those really shitty dickheads who are just abrasive for the sake of being abrasive. Whereas generally, academians are just a lot more mild-mannered. They're just the kind of people that I can just sort of vibe with at work a lot easier, because there's just not as many strong personalities. People know how to hold their fucking tongues and hold their egos in check, at least until the day is out. Again, just a different kind of environment. Yeah, every work environment's different, and you're gonna get people who aren't the most fun to work with in almost any kind of environment. I was very lucky with the USDA that I got along with pretty much everybody at the Soil and Water Conservation District. I really just lament that A, I just wasn't in the right location, and B, they just didn't give me anything to do. It's just unfortunate. It was an unfortunate set of circumstances, but truth be told, I did really like the gig I had set up with the USDA. It's just there were circumstantial things about it that were really just taking massive hits on my mental health. It can be frustrating, but I'm narrowing in on finally, you know, finding my little niche. Just gotta carve something out. All life is torture, and it's just a matter of finding the tortures that you're most comfortable with. I can handle some fucking, like, snooty beta male white-collar prickhead fucking trying to backstab me every once in a while. That's something that I can fucking deal with. I can handle dudes like that, but it's just like when you have, like, dudes like this fucking guy I work with who are just, like, these overwhelming personalities who just try to commandeer everything about the job, it just stifles, like, any amount of anything you can get done. And like I said, on top of, like, everything else I'm dealing with, it's just, ugh. It's just fucking annoying. And again, that's a torture that I'm not gonna put up with. I'm not gonna put up with being fucking, like, some random coworker that I have trying to dress me down in front of my other coworkers, like that's gonna fucking work on me. Like, fuck off.
I wasn't gonna let Talizora Vas Normandy get exiled on my watch.
Thank you, Captain.
I'll take it.
I'll take it.
The Admirals thought they were humbling you by forcing you to represent her, Shepard. I'm glad they were wrong. You didn't mention survivors. Did you find real Tali? I am sure he would have left you a message if he'd had time.
We found Rail's body. He left a message for Tali.
I can only imagine how horrible this is for you, child. But at least you got to hear your father tell you he loved you.
Yes. Thank you, Admiral.
Good luck on your mission. No matter how dark it gets, the fleet is always with you. Kila Salai.
I can't believe Tali and their captain took back the Alarai.
Damn fine speech, Shepard. It's about time someone reminded Admiral Corus that the woman he was accusing of treason was the...
God, I love some of the dialogue options in Mass Effect, dude.
Honestly.
I love, yeah.
What did you find over there? You spoke well, but I know...
Good luck in your war.
Tali, is there anything the Admiral should know?
We found a lot of dead bodies, Admiral. Including my father's, that's all. Whatever research...
Which one is this? Is this 2?
This is 2.
I'll take your word for it, Tali.
Oh,
I don't have much choice.
It's been so long.
And fly safe, kid.
Two in terms of, like, just general story and dialogue and interaction is probably my favorite.
It's goated.
3 has like really fun gameplay, but obviously it kind of falls apart a little at the end.
Never played anything past 2.
One I enjoy from an RPG's perspective, in a lot of ways, but one I think just doesn't have the absolutely explosive autism you can give a renegade shepherd in other games. Like in one, all of the decisions you make are generally pretty like lukewarm and don't change all that much, but in Mass Effect 2 and 3, like, you can do some fucking crazy ass cracked out shit.
Very impressive, Shepard. Thank you for your help on the Alarai. And thank you for helping Rael Zora's daughter. You stood for her when we failed. We were wrong to let our own concerns about the war overshadow Tali's trial.
The galaxy needs more people saying what you're saying, Admiral. Good luck.
Thank you, Commander.
Yeah, Mass Effect 1 is fun. It's very different from 2 and 3. It's got its own thing going on, but I really enjoy it.
Talizara was innocent.
I really liked it too, but it's been so long.
Did you hear that speech?
It's like, when I played games when I was younger, I loved really all sorts of games, even if they sucked. But the way I remember Mass Effect, I always remembered Mass Effect being
I had to
good.
say something when you didn't use that evidence you found on the Alarai.
I didn't say anything about finding.
Definitely 2 more than 1. Mass Effect 1 still had, like, some pretty good shit going on.
I appreciate your help, Rieger. I don't know what I would have done if you and Vitor hadn't stood up to help.
I'm sure you'd have figured something out. Good luck out there, ma'am.
Carl, just call me Tali.
I'll work on that, ma'am.
Have you played the Legendary Edition?
This is the Legendary Edition.
Of the first, like, it's pretty expansively changed compared to the original.
Yeah, Legendary Edition Mass Effect 1 is the one I played before this. I've been playing this for like a month.
Sweet.
I was wrong.
We're doing the whole series. Although tomorrow, my bad video game slave has to play a bad video game for me tomorrow.
What the hell?
Isn't that right, bad video game slave? Oh, is John muted or something? Is he here? Is he
Bro, I think he went to bed.
Oh, okay. So here's the thing. When I'm in streaming mode, I don't get Discord sounds. So if he went offline, I wouldn't have heard the little "boo-doo-doo" because that doesn't play when I'm in streaming mode. All that shit's turned off. Yeah. So no, John's now my bad video game slave. He has to play Saints Row tomorrow. We made a perfect replica of a Soy Jack, so now it's Soy's Row, and he just has to play Soy's Row for me every once in a while. And basically, he Discord streams it to me, and then I restream it on my Twitch channel.
Me and Tyler Drake were playing BDO recently, and I made a custom character that's like a fucking exact copy of the GigaChad guy.
Nice.
It's awesome. I named it Chadler Drake.
I can't believe you stood up and spoke for me.
Oh, well, it's good Rieger was there. He said...
Wow, dude, did you really have to use my name, dude?
Oh, okay. And thank you, Shepard, for helping me and Tali both.
Guess you just needed a pretty woman to help you feel better.
Well, maybe. Good luck, Tali. And you too, Commander.
Very impressive speech, Commander Shepard. But tell me truly, did you recover any of Rael Zora's research on the Alarai?
Nothing that will help you, Admiral.
Pity. Oh well. Whatever is created can be recreated. I greatly enjoyed seeing you call the other admirals out on their politicking, and I am pleased that Tali was not exiled.
Goodbye, Admiral.
Did you hear that speech?
Well, honestly, I probably got one of the best outcomes possible for that. Tons of tech shit for that. Dumb bitch Kelly. Fuck you. I'll unlock a shitload of new research that I can do. Oh, there we go. CBT, we got Normandy cock and ball torture.
Cognitive behavioral therapy? No. Cock and ball torture.
No, Sloan, I actually do like Kelly. I just always make fun of her. It's like fucking, because whenever I hear Kelly, I always think about Wings of Redemption, so I always just think about Jordy Jordan's wife.
Kelly, go hop on the dash.
Hey, Kelly, hit the DoorDash. We need to be going on DoorDash to be making some more money. Or listen, pimp, if I don't start getting like $100 in donations in like the next 2 hours, I'm gonna shut the stream off and I'm just gonna go do DoorDash.
I'm just gonna go hit the dash.
I could be making like 3 times as much money here at DoorDashing as I could be here streaming. Okay? Y'all gotta step up and if you want to see me play these games, y'all motherfuckers gotta tip me.
He's having an Axl Rose moment.
I love Jordy fucking just like going off on like one of his "you gotta tip me or I'm gonna shut the stream off" moments.
Listen, I'm only here to fulfill my contractual obligations.
Also, that fucking picture of Josh. Speaking of financial obligations, fucking Josh hit that donations goal.
What is the backstory to that? Is that like a dono goal thing?
Yeah, it was like some sort of dono goal, and he said he'd just dye his hair.
He had to like cover himself in dirt. Oh, that's what it is.
Yeah, it was like a whole thing where he was like gonna dye his hair because one of the things he's famous for is back when he was like 10 years younger. He did you've seen the blue hair dye incident, I'm pretty sure.
Yeah.
I think it was just like one of those things where Josh like
I deep dove in that.
Josh had a moment of clarity and recognized his own lol countess and thought that he could recreate it by dyeing his hair again, which in this case actually worked. Lightning did in fact strike twice. It's still fucking funny.
He has these moments of extreme self-awareness that I find more entertaining than almost anything.
Josh's moments of clarity are way more entertaining than when he's just going off on his fucking weird pedophile incel rants.
Yeah.
Like
he's definitely way more self-aware than a guy like Jordy. It's kind of funny.
Like whenever Josh is going off on his usual fucking incel rants, my eyes just glaze over. And then he has this moment of clarity where he calls himself a disgusting but ugly freak, and and then my ears perk up, and he talks about how everything he does to himself is his fault, and I'm like, oh wow, okay, here we go. Here's the interesting bit. Like Josh has just been so one note for like the past year since he moved into his new apartment. All he fucking talks about is how much he hates sickos and wants to protect children by looking at them very closely.
That's so weird.
It's fucked up. Like it's literally like the
I never understood people that like out of all their weird obsessions, I can get if you're like weirdly obsessed with like pedo shit, because there's a lot of people who have been like abused and stuff. But like I don't get like people that are weirdly obsessed with like crime and punishment.
Well, I think for Josh, it's a rejection of self thing. I think that there's a part of him that harbors grape fantasies, and so he basically says it, like fuck rape, basically as a mantra to himself, as a rejection of self, to sort of hold the urges at bay. That's my best guess. Like literally, that's my best guess about Josh. Like. It seems, again, it's like it's the same thing with like the fuck chimos. He says it so often and so frequently, and he gets so adamant and aggressive about it. If you even jokingly like mention pedos to him, like nobody would care this hard about it unless it was like something that like was very deeply personal to you. And then fuck chimos and all that. I'm not saying that like you shouldn't like just tokenly every once in a while say, yeah, I hate pedophiles, because everybody hates pedophiles, but Josh takes it to such an extreme that I just feel like on some level it's a rejection.
Performative.
Yeah.
Yeah.
The same way like a lot of like conservative Christians are really, really homophobic to a degree that's almost like cartoonish. I think in many ways that's rejection of self. I think a lot of men in like the Christian hemispheres are terrified of self-exploration because they're afraid of the person they'll be on the other side of that. So they just, like become homophobes or shit like that because as a form of self-rejection. The mirror is a scary place for a lot of people. And a lot of people just have to reconcile shit with themselves. But with Josh, it's just kind of both sad and funny because he's just so fucking autistic. But again, it's like he's been the same for like the past year, almost 2 years. It's just so easy to tune him out at this point because he's just going on about the same fucking rants that he always goes on, where he's just saying like just dumb incel shit. Where he's just talking about women and being rejected in high school and fucking talking like he knows women when has a dry spell for like 7 years or however long it's been at this point. Like, a man who hasn't seen a vagina in 7 years is the guy we need to be taking woman advice from. It's just sad, really, but at the same, but like, whenever he, like, does, like, really weird or dumb shit, or, like, my favorite routine Josh has now, though, is when he gets blackout drunk and then decides to start singing. His drunk singing streams still are genuinely entertaining to me. I love them so much. When he's just, because he's just shrieking, he just sounds like a fucking animal. It's great. But I guess Josh realized that he was getting boring, and so he just sort of was like promised to dye his hair and do weird shit as a form of making some extra money, because because that's ultimately what he's trying to do, is just like grift extra money for booze. But I mean, it worked. This strategy worked. It got people to donate. People gave him, like, he hit like a $200 tip goal to fucking smear black hair dye all over himself. Whoa. All right, Sloan, you have a good night. Yeah, it's about time for me to head out as well. I was just about to pack up. I was just having a brief little talk about Josh, because Josh is so funny, and I can't help but talk about him whenever he comes up.
Good job.
Yeah, I love how all of his fans are just on a first name basis with him. His fans / trolls.
Man's like a case study for like clinical psychology.
Yeah, he's a perfect case study. Like, this is something I always say about Josh, is like he's such an interesting case study in so many ways for like narcissism, autism. Like, he has so many of these various complexes that all interact with each other in this way that like creates like an individual that exists on copium. Because no matter what negative evidence he's presented with about anything in his life, he will come up with a cope for it. Like, he's somehow been able to mentally distinguish the concept of fans from trolls, even though in his case they're one and the same. A fan of Josh is also a troll of Josh.
Yeah.
But in Josh's mind, like, he's somehow able to mentally distinguish these as two completely separate and unidentical things with no overlap, because it's a cope for him. Because in his mind, he has to be the goth bad boy rock star, and any shattering of that image...
That smells good.
That smells good. Smells amazing. He wears the Bond Tactical Soap.
Yeah.
But because, like, to accept any evidence to the contrary would just completely destroy his mind, because so much of who he is just developed around this very basic self-image that he's like some cool guy with fans. And if he was presented with that harsh reality that, nah, you're just an e-clown, everybody's here to laugh at you, he would cease to exist as the person he is, because his identity is so carefully constructed to be the cool guy. He has to reject it. He has to reject this notion of like that his trolls are his fans, and that like he's not going anywhere, and he's never going to win the lottery, and all this stuff that's like obvious to anybody else. In his mind, he has no choice but to reject it, because to accept it would be to just embrace oblivion, essentially, to destroy the person that he is. Because his life is such a carefully constructed lie.
Yeah.
It's sad when you really break it down, but then he does like goofy shit and it's funny. He gets
Did you see everyone the last few weeks, not to like curtail it, but everyone's been like falsely claiming on the internet, and they've like convinced a lot of people that Chris Chan like broke out of jail.
Oh, was that
It's been awesome.
Yeah, I had read rumors about that. I'm glad to see that it's not true.
Do you think that Chris Chan's capable of that? Like, honestly, though.
And that was the first thing that like made me kind of suspicious of it. Is like big if true. Like that was my immediate reaction. Is if Chris
It's been
Chan,
almost a week. I feel like they would have confirmed it by now, and there's been
Yeah.
absolutely no media confirmation of any of it.
Yeah, there's no major media coverage of it, and a major media outlet would have sniffed that, like sussed that out, because that would have been big news.
It's the idea of fucking Chris Chan climbing out of the bathroom like window of a courthouse is hilarious, and then like escaping on foot.
I mean,
Chris Chan escape on foot.
Well, the thing about that is they would get caught fucking like immediately because you know they would.
Chris Chan escaped the dogs, the helicopter, the National Guard.
They wouldn't escape into the woods. They would just run around along the sidewalks, or they just walk over to the nearest Radio Shack so they could harass the guy behind the counter or something. Like, they wouldn't do anything rational. They would do something that would just get them caught again immediately. So that was like my first tip off. That was my first suspicion, is when people were like, they're still missing. Like, no, they're not. They would have been caught like immediately because they're so fucking like out of shape and stupid that they would just get like immediately caught somewhere super obvious, like on the sidewalk a block away from the courthouse. Yeah, so I had my suspicions about that from the very beginning. Glad to see that it's been confirmed not true. Fucking man, like the fucking day. We're in the twilight years of the lol cows, though, man. That golden age is so long gone. Like Jordy's sunsetting because he lost his Twitch channel and he's getting into a lawsuit now. DSP is kind of just he's a cockroach of the internet. He'll just always eternally be there grifting his wheelchair audience.
Can't believe it. Still to this day, I have a hard time feeling bad because if you watch DSP, you deserve it.
Yeah, if you watch DSP, you deserve it.
It's like bad.
Yeah, just grifting.
It's like feeling bad for NFT bros that lost their life savings.
DSP just grifting wheelchairs in perpetuity ad infinitum for all eternity, like the cockroach of the internet that he is. He'll be there doing this shit until the heat death of the universe. So don't worry. Even if you're out of lolcows, he'll always be there for you. Chris Chan is, sunsetting pretty fast because it's very clear that it's just going to be a pretty strong and unanimous conviction, and that's just gonna be the end of it. And they're just gonna put Chris Chan away, and that's pretty much. We'll probably get some memoirs from prison every once in a while, but we're not gonna. But the days of Chris Chan are gonna be long gone, and then all we're gonna have is Josh until he fucking has a liver cirrhosis in his sleep and he just stops breathing on stream.
Nah, when Video Game Donkey's wife leaves him, we're gonna unlock like the next level of fun Video Game Donkey. He's gonna like fall off the deep end. He's gonna there's gonna be a video of him like getting naked in a Chick-fil-A or some shit and having a meltdown.
I really hope so. I want everybody to see that man for the fucking actual E-clown that he is.
Why do you hate him so much? Do you shit on some game you like?
He's just the thing that he does is he's never consistent with how he applies the logic of his quote-unquote reviews to games.
Oh, so he did! Oh!
Well, no, Doug. I mean, it's like this whole thing where if he shits on a game and...
Which one was it?
If he shits on a game and everybody agrees that it really wasn't any game in particular, I don't
care. Alright,
care.
Justice, show me on the doll where he hurt you. No, I'm just fucking trolling you, bro.
No, I know you are. It's like, if he shits on a game and everybody agrees with him that the game is stinky, he's like, yes, I am a perfectly valid and legitimate critic of video games. But then if he shits on a game and everybody disagrees with him, he's like, aha, you just did not understand the dry wit of my satirical commentary in this video.
I get what you're saying. I never held him to any, real standards, though.
He's just such a fucking like Schrodinger's douchebag about all of his fucking supposed criticisms. He always straddles the fence on whether or not he wants people to take his criticism seriously or not. So it just comes across like he's just a complete wishy-washy
he got really fucking bitched at on Twitter last week because he made some video hypercritical about the new Xenogears game or some shit. And he gave a major spoiler in it, and people were just fucking
Yeah, well, Donkey's
People are
background
not
noise to
happy.
me, it's not like I fucking like actively like go out of my way and like I'm livid at him or anything. I just don't like him from the general perspective that he will never be consistent about his criticisms, and he will always straddle the line on whether or not he's serious.
I
or
think
not.
he just is genuinely like a contrarian person.
Yeah,
but
no,
like also
he's-
at the same time, the best videos he makes are the ones where he's shitting on like corporate, like IGN game reviewers.
Yeah, I mean that's all well and good. That's fine, but it's one of these things. It's like a stale joke with him where he plays a JRPG and then complains it's a JRPG. Like he plays Xenoblade 3 and then he fucking bitches that he's got to grind and got to do story shit.
To be fair, JRPGs are dog shit. I like them a lot, but they're really bad.
I love JRPGs.
Just the way they function and like the fucking like the idea of like how the combat works and everything. These games suck. I just like them.
I
I'm
mean,
like biased towards them.
I mean, objectively, I'd say they're perfectly fine video games.
Of course you would, though, dude, because you like them. That's what I'm saying.
No, I know, but I mean, like, how do you? But I mean, you were saying objectively they're bad games. Like, how do you measure that? Like, I'm just
Because people are making these crazily intense like AAA games that are full of action and have like actual fucking shit happening in them, and then JRPGs are still held to the standard of like fucking linear storylines with shit maps and like fucking turn-based combat. And I like them. I just gobble them up. But
how many
they're
of them really still have
escapes to your
turn-based
trash.
combat?
Quite a lot of them. And then the ones that do have actual combat, it's usually just like shitty like Genshin Impact tier like fucking combat.
I don't know. To each their own. I'd say linear. There's nothing wrong with linear storytelling.
My favorite series of games ever still is like the Shin Megami Tensei or Final Fantasy games. So it's like I'm just coming from a place of love too. Like
No,
I love these games. I really do.
I get you, but I'd say that like if you're like a fan of like the virtual medium of storytelling, I'd say a lot of that shit still holds up.
Bro, I'm definitely like this is not an opinion you're gonna hear a lot of people give you. Like if I said this in a room full of JRPG fans, I'd be getting crucified right now. Like fully accept that this is just my opinion.
No, I'm hearing you.
Like I don't know, man. I love them, but like I see them for like what they are, I guess, in my opinion.
I mean, you can recognize the flaws in them, and that's fine. I think that anybody who is truly
Yeah, but it's
appreciative of
like
something
I'm the
can
kind of guy
recognize
that
the
likes
flaws in
shit games too. Like I played RuneScape for like 15 years, dude. I still love that game.
I mean, Dark Souls 2 is like literally one of my
Just, like,
favorite games ever. Like, don't fucking.
We
listen
like
to
what
me.
we like, man.
Yeah,
You know?
well, but this is one of those things though where Donkey again though when you're trying to you've already reached the folly of the argument already was that you were trying to lay out constructive and critical reasons for why sometimes a lot of JRPGs fall flat by modern video game standards, but Donkey doesn't actually like make these suppositions or try to do anything transformative with his
Yeah,
ideas
he
or
usually
views.
just bitches about how their storylines suck, which is like
Or he
largely true, but it's
he-
like one
he
of
just
the
hates
minor
JRPGs in
criticisms.
general. He has baby brain. He has no patience. He can't wait for a story to unfold. He has no patience to like.
I feel
fight
like
any
if most
enemies.
American gamers actually tried to sit down and beat JRPGs, they would feel that way, though. It's just like a lot of people say they like these games, but how many people do you think have actually like
I mean, Persona
sunk
5
200 hours into like Final Fantasy VII or some shit?
Persona 5 is literally one of the best selling fucking like video games of the PS4 era. Like you can't tell me American gamers just don't care for JRPGs.
That game's like fully modern too, though. Like JRPGs of the past are like just like
but
held to an
JRPGs
esteem that they don't necessarily like. A lot of the guys
Yeah,
that
but I'm not
decried
talking
them
about-
have never even played them.
But I'm not talking about JRPGs of the past. I'm talking about JRPGs of the present. I'm talking Donkey shitting on Xenoblade Chronicles 3, which is a modern JRPG that has all the modern accoutrements and modern amenities. And he's just complaining about it for the things that every JRPG has. And it's just a stale joke. Like, yes, we get it. You're a fucking man baby who can't play JRPGs. Move on. New joke. Next bit. Go back to playing League of Legends and telling people to kill themselves. You were funnier back then.
I love that he pisses off like JRPG fans too, because they like most JRPG fans are just straight spur lords, dude. Like honestly, that's how I got into them. I was brought into the world of JRPGs by my heavily autistic friend in middle school.
You're very fortunate John's not here because he would have some very strong. He would actually have some stronger.
Oh,
words to
dude,
say
he
about
would be
this.
shitting on me right now.
Yeah.
What ones does he actually play though? I figured you were probably more of the RPG player.
He plays all the modern ones. I'm actually the retro guy. I played a fuckload of retro JRPGs.
I like retro, but I like mid-retro. Like, I
This the
don't know,
one.
like Super Nintendo.
Those are the yes. Well, Super Nintendo's the one that I'm
PS1.
most familiar with. I haven't played Xenogear yet. I need to get around to it. I have a PS1 emulator all set up. I'll probably
I
stream
played
at some
it, never
point.
beat it. I was in junior high when I played it, though,
But
like ninth grade.
John's played like all the Tales games, a lot of like the Dissidia games, like all the modern ones, the Falcom games.
Have either of you ever played Disgaea?
John's probably played Disgaea.
I really liked that one. That was a nice, like, interesting take on
like,
JRPGs.
FF6, FF7, Chrono Trigger, Secret of Mana, like all those like mid-square SNES games, a lot of the old Pokemons, Dragon Quest, like those are the ones that I've played. I played a lot of the DS era and like mid-SNES era shit.
I really like just a few series too. It's like I feel like largely in JRPGs, most of them are very copycat, and then there's just a few big hitters. Like I really like the ones that everyone says they like. Like honestly, because those are the good ones. Like Final Fantasy, Dragon Quest, Disgaea, fucking Persona. Like all of these ones are like solid.
But that's why they become smash successes, is because they're generally, you know, they're generally held in high esteem because there's actually a bunch of good shit people see in it. I mean, you can say that about any game genre. Like why
They also tend to have the longest playouts of any other like genre of games. That's why I liked them when I was a kid. Because like you buy a game for $60 and it's like a shooter that's like a 10-hour campaign and you wasted your money.
Yeah,
but if you get a good JRPG, you're playing that until next year. It's like a 200-hour game.
Yeah, so for me though, it's not even really like the whole JRPG complaint with Donkey. It's just that he's so baby-brained and inconsistent with his jokes that it just stops being funny because it's just the same bit played out on repeat. And again, it's like some people will try to take him as like a serious critic of things, and some people just like will just fucking.
Man, people will take anyone serious. I feel like if you're taking Video Game Donkey serious, you need to chill.
Again, though, it's just like he's just so unfunny now. I just go back to the days where you're telling people to kill themselves in online video. I hope you get gunned down in the streets like the degenerate that you are.
I can't even talk on that because I got banned from League of Legends once for telling a guy to kill himself. I sincerely hope that guy killed himself.
It's funny. It's actually funny. But fucking yeah, no, it's like
I don't really hope he killed himself, but I do.
But no, I mean, again though, I don't hate Donkey with a passion. It's not like I'm fucking like seething and like writing fucking essays about this guy. It's just like on a general fundamental level, I just think he's an annoying prick. You know, it's like there's different levels of like frustration you can have with an individual or entity, and it's like one of those like back burner frustrations where it's not like I'm seeking out a means to excise my hatred on him. I just don't like him because I think he's just fucking retarded. Which he is. He literally talks like a baby. But ultimately, it's just like, it's something I've come to expect from him. Like, I know he's just gonna shit on JRPGs, and it's just the same rote, played-out joke. So, like, how am I
kind of want to see the comments on his video.
How am I gonna summon the energy to get mad at this fucking retard when I already know the joke before it even happens, you know?
Because you gotta take the bait like the rest of the internet.
No, I mean, dude, I'm smarter than that, and you know that. Like, I'm able to put things in perspective. Like, fuck them, sure, but like, you guys had to have known that whenever a big JRPG comes out, he's just gonna fucking release a review trashing it just to fucking troll like Western audience, or not Western audiences. I'm thinking about JRPGs again, just to troll people. I mean, it was so funny though because. In some ways, when Hideo Kojima released Death Stranding, he's like, many Western audiences will not appreciate my game because it demands a level of patience and intelligence from them that Americans do not have.
That game blows cock, though.
It's a divisive one. I haven't played it, so I can't say for sure. But it's just funny because then...
It's fucking bad.
Video Game Donkey then immediately proved Hideo Kojima's point by having no patience for the game. Which, you know, again, to be fair, maybe it's just bad. I don't know. I haven't played it, but
I swear it's bad. Dude.
But John John also likes busy work in his games, which is fair. A lot of people do.
That's literally the entire game. Like, it feels like you're just always on a mission to do something that's, like, basically unimportant.
I think the fun people derive from those games, from that game specifically,
it's getting lost in a world.
It's the world, but it's also setting up ways to expedite your journeys, like building like pulley systems and elaborate slides and ropes and all this shit to just get you around the world at like Mach speed. I think
the only time I've ever been like super into like some aspect like that recently, and it was awful, I fully admit it, was Fallout 4. When you could build your own like compound and shit, dude. I spent hours doing that. It was retarded. There was no point.
I honestly feel like I would, on some level, I would definitely actually appreciate Death Stranding just because I like finding ways to expedite things. I like finding ways to like do the least amount of work possible.
I mean, dude, like there's good shit to be found there. It's just like collectively, I'd call it an L, but it's still a Kojima game, which means it's gonna be better than most games. Just
That's
by
true.
like, by just default, you know.
Yeah.
That's the extent of my bias. It's like if that dude's name is on something, you know, it's at least worth examining.
What give you the impression I was more of the overall JRPG guy over John?
Because you play Final Fantasy, like quite a lot.
I do.
I mean, he does too, though.
Yeah, he's also played a lot of FF14, but I am genuinely though FF14's story is amazing, and I'm having a really great time with it. So I will say that.
I bought that fucking game and I still haven't played it. I'm stupid. I should install it right now.
The base game's campaign kind of sets up like the politics and like overarching world of Eorzea, and then all the expansions are the actual game story, and the expansions are fucking crazy good. Like every expansion finds a way to top each other with their storytelling and music and story beats. It's fucking fantastic. I'm like reaching the end of Shadowbringers right now, and it is like legitimately like one of the most fucking insane JRPG experiences I've had in a long ass time.
Hell yeah.
It is.
I need to delete something. No, I have 23 gigs available.
Yeah, John's delved a lot deeper into modern JRPGs. The only like modern JRPG I've played in recent memory, I haven't even played the Persona games. The only modern JRPG I delved into in recent memory was at John's suggestion, and it was Tales of Berseria, which was very good.
I feel like I played that. God, which one is? I have to Google it quick.
Generally, most of the Tales games give no fucks, which is a really good attitude for a JRPG to have, because then it sort of liberates the writers to just tell whatever kind of story they want. And in Berseria's case, it was like the most fucking depressing story I've ever seen, but in a good way.
I'm trying to think of the last RPG I played out to like the end. Fuck. It's been a while. Shit, probably fucking Persona 5.
Yeah, I'm definitely gonna play Persona 5 at some point. I've also got to play one of the big ones I really want to play is Yakuza 7. I haven't gotten around to that one yet. Yeah, I might not be the guy to ask about whether or not JRPGs are good, but then again, how do you define any art as good or bad? Because I mean, people are just gonna like what they like.
Obviously subjective, but when something is like derivative and bland to the point where it's like
I think
following the same formula for 30 years, it's like not art at that point. It's literally just a copy for money.
I think there's some level of objectivity in which you can measure the quality of a thing through like polish and novelty and like all kinds
I'm
of
just
stuff
a video game hipster in that degree because I find derivative things to be very boring. I'm not trying to play a series of 14 games that everyone's like effectively the same fucking game.
No, I agree, but I also think that in some cases being derivative, if you find a way to make it feel novel, is fine. Like Titanfall 2 as a storyline, Titanfall 2's campaign didn't do anything like super crazy groundbreaking. It just had really fun shooting, really fun mechanics, but then it also had like a really cute buddy cop story between a guy and his robot, and people loved it, and I loved it because even though it was like it's nothing new, the buddy cop robot story is nothing new, but it was told with such a level of earnestness and a sort of slight feeling of novelty to it that it just kind of ropes you in.
Fair enough.
I think like in many ways there's levels of derivative. There's sort of gray areas to being derivative, where you can be like totally derivative, like this is just a completely like unoriginal thing.
I guess at the end of the day, all that really matters is if it's like fun to you, you know.
Yeah.
Because there are people like Pat's still out here playing like City Skyline for the past 10 years, you know. To each their own.
I'll replay the fucking Half-Life games like once or twice a year. Like,
I've never beat them. I've played them. What's up with Half-Life Alyx? Is that worth playing?
Absolutely. It's fucking awesome.
Is it like actual like Half-Life 3? Or is it just
it's a Half-Life? It's a Half-Life 2 prequel. And it's really, really good. But it's like it's an actual mainline game in the series. Like it's not like just like some fucking tech demo. It is a fully fledged 8 to 10 hour game that you can play, but you just play it in VR. It is like one of the few VR games out there that feels like more than just a tech demo. And there are some pretty fun tech demo games though. I love H3 VR, Hot Dogs, Horseshoes, Hand Grenades. That game, well, because that game is like a fully fledged like weapon simulator, which appeals to my weapon autism. It's like a fully fledged weapon simulator in VR, where like all the guns like move completely one-to-one realistically to their IRL counterparts. So it appeals to my autism, but like in terms of being a fully realized game, Half-Life Alyx is like a legit game with a beginning, middle, end, voice acting, characters, story, art direction. Like it is a full video game with an 8 to 10 hour campaign that is very good and fun and enjoyable. And I would highly recommend it. I legitimately would just highly recommend Alyx.
Is there a PC port, or is it only on whatever the fuck it's on?
I would really suggest that, like, I mean, you buy it through Steam, and then any VR headset will take it.
Alright, cool.
But don't play it with like a monitor.
I have access to a VR headset though.
Yeah,
so it shouldn't be a problem.
Play it on a VR headset. Some people like found a way to like rig it to like a monitor and mouse. And I'd just say you'd really be gimping the experience if you did that. It really just is best served as a VR experience.
How old is that game? It's not even that old.
2 years. It came out in 2020.
Damn.
Yeah, it's not super old. Yeah, I love Alyx. There's Into the Radius. That's also a pretty cool game. It's also an actual fully fledged game. Not really much of a story to it, but it's a fully fleshed out concept. Into the Radius is pretty good. I'm trying to think of. I want more like story-based VR games. Like Half-Life Alyx just like was such a good delivery on like what you can do with the VR tech to actually deliver like a very like paced shot narrative, almost like like making a movie but as a video game. That's like what it felt like. And this
just thinking about the time that Half-Life the original came out, man, it's like compared to what was out at the time, it really is quite the experience.
I mean, even like, and this is something that the whole Half-Life 2 trilogy really excelled at, is just the feeling of like capturing the vibe of being a movie in a video game, where you have these very cut and shot set pieces that play out and you participate in them, and then you go to the next set piece, and it's just this sequence of moments that you remember because they are so distinct in their map design and art direction and moment-to-moment pacing. Half-Life 1 is like, it's more just like a linear sequence of like shootouts, which is also very fun. And I like it for that because there's like it's just like fucking balls out action from the word go, and it's a lot of fun. But I'd say in terms of like the structure, Half-Life 2 just appeals to me on the level of like you get these vistas that are just so clearly like straight off the drawing board of the art room, and like all these moments that just like stand out to me, and it's like it feels like the unbroken first person narrative of a video game, but it's so paced and directed, and it's like I'm not trying to compare video games to cinema in the way that it's like David Cage is like, my game has a movie, it's emotion. I don't mean it like that, but I just mean like there are these scenes and these vistas in the Half-Life 2 games that just stand out to you, and it just sticks in your memory, and you're just like, I remember this moment. I remember this scene or this specific camera angle, and it like, for me, a young person growing up, it was just a very formative experience. It just stuck out in my head forever.
Dude, the Valve VR looks like the best VR.
Don't.
But it's like almost $800.
Don't. I have an Index. The wires are so annoying, and as cool as the controllers are, I'd say they're the best controllers. But the sensors are so annoying to deal with, and then you got the wire in the headset, and it's just like...
It's also definitely got the best monitor.
The Quest 2 is better overall, I'd say. It's cheaper. And I mean, you gotta have a fucking Meta account, but like everybody has a Meta account.
I think they actually changed that.
Okay, well that's good. But yeah, the Quest 2 is better. It has really solidly built controllers that aren't too annoying. The best thing, in my opinion, is that the controllers are gyro instead of sensor, because it makes them way less easy to obstruct. Because I would have several instances where I was playing with the Index, where my hand would just teleport into the floor because like something blocked the sensor for a second. Whereas with gyro, it's just more consistent. And there's no wires, it's just a battery pack, and you can get expanded battery packs for the Quest. So I'd say Quest is a better investment overall because it's more the Quest 2 is less expensive, and I'd say the completely wireless setup of the gyro controllers and the wireless headset, it just feels more natural. The Index is fine, but it's expensive, and the only thing you really get out of it that other VR headsets don't do is finger tracking, which, I mean, it's fun to flip shit off, but that's really all you're getting out of it. It's just expensive tech for something that Facebook is basically doing for cheaper.
I just didn't know about this one. I was just looking at them quickly. The overall build quality looks like similarly good to the fucking Valve one.
Yeah.
The only thing I was worried about is I thought they were like cheap and like little fucking shitty plastic things. Because I've used them before and these actually look far better.
The Quest 2 has an internal like hard drive, but you can set up a virtual desktop to run shit straight to the headset as like just the headset itself without needing to install. Because basically how they're doing it is they have two ways of doing it, where you can use the internal drive of the Quest and the internal hardware to run games, but they don't look as good and all this shit because it's not your PC running it. It's just all internalized on the Quest. But if you run it through your PC and then set up a virtual desktop, you can just have it broadcast into the VR headset, and that's the way John does it, and that's the way a lot of people do it. The main thing is just that you have to make sure you have at least a solid like Bluetooth or network connection with your internet. You can either throughput it through your router, so that way your router is pinging your PC and your Quest concurrently, or you just set them up through Bluetooth. But either way, there's some caveats to using it, but overall it's a better experience just because, again, no wires. Because I can't tell you the amount of times, or in sensors, because I can't tell you the amount of times I would just get frustrated with my Index having to step over the wire, or having to make sure my sensors were aligned and calibrated. It's just more setup. It's more of like a hardcore high-end VR player's sort of rig. Quest 2 is just more there for like if you just want to like play the VR games and just enjoy them for what they are. But I'm definitely, you can definitely color me a firm believer in the future of VR, which is funny because I used to be one of the most staunchest VR naysayers out there.
Yeah, because when it came out at first, it was shitty. It's like,
Yeah,
how are you going to call something virtual reality and it fucking sucks?
Yeah, I used to be a
Okay.
very staunch VR naysayer. I fucking thought it was stupid and of just a fucking gay ass novelty for hipsters, and I would get motion sickness with it because of my glasses. But they have like glasses separators and shit, so that they solved that issue. So that like the box that goes over your face is now big enough that your glasses fit under them. The motion sickness isn't as bad because they have motion smoothing and stuff like that. They've just done so much to make the tech so much better, and then they started like getting more and more interesting with what they do with it, like games like Blade and Sorcery, where like I like cast fire on my sword to make it a flame sword, and then I just stab through some guy's armor and pin him to a wall, and I was like, oh yeah, it's VR time. Blade and Sorcery is an amazing way to just get some fucking frustration out. Because that game has like full dismemberment, and you're the one actually swinging the sword, so you just fuck people up. It's fun. It's a lot of fun. But definitely, I would say something VR is still wanting for is very artistic and passionate teams to make fully fleshed out and realized stories. For a lot of VR right now, story is either non-existent or a secondary concern, and their main concern is capturing an interesting hook or premise with the VR technology and executing on it, which is a good thing to do because you want to pioneer that technology and pioneer these ideas. But Alex proved that there's something so interesting about being immersed in that narrative in the most like direct way possible that you just can't do with other stuff.
Yeah.
And so I just want more of like whatever Alex was doing. I just want more of that. See, what VR games do I have? I uninstalled all of them because my headset is in storage right now while I wait to move in with John in a little while, in a month or so. Yeah, I have Blade and Sorcery. I have what the fuck was that game? Why am I forgetting? Into the Radius, which is basically like first person stalker. And it's every bit as fucking terrifying as you'd think.
Stalker's the game that's like based off fucking Metro, right?
No, opposite. Metro is based on. Okay, so the genealogy of this is you have the original Strugatsky Brothers Roadside Picnic novel, and then you had I think it was Jodorowsky who did the Stalker film. Who did the Stalker film? Stalker.
Tarkovsky.
Yeah, it was Tarkovsky. Tarkovsky.
So it's based on the film?
Tarkovsky did the Stalker film, and then the game Stalker is based on elements from both the book and the film, and also does its own thing. It's based on both the book and the film, and does its own things. And then Dmitry Glukovsky's Metro series is based in some ways on that whole genealogy of book, film, and video game, but also does its own spin and is a much more like harsh anti-Russian sort of like critique piece. And it borrows a lot of inspirations from this roadside picnic / stalker genealogy of entertainment, but is also its own thing entirely, which is also one of my favorite novels. I love Metro 2033. It is wild. It is a very Russian book. I can definitely tell you that. But yeah, it's Yeah, the Stalker video games are based on Tarkovsky's film in some ways, but also does their own thing. And Tarkovsky's film is based on Roadside Picnic, which is a Russian novel from I think like the 60s. It's a sci-fi novel. It's basically the Russian equivalent of Do Androids Dream of Electric Sheep. Just like one of those like milestone works of literature that just completely changed the entertainment industry in Russia.
Damn.
Stragatsky.
I've seen the
70s.
Tarkovsky version of it like a billion fucking times. It's really good. I actually have a copy of it.
Nice. Yeah, it's based. Yeah, but there you go. Now, in case you didn't know, it's based on a novel from the early 70s called Roadside Picnic.
Sick.
Yeah, but the concept is always generally the same of some weird, funky metaphysical shit going on in some place called the Zone.
Yeah, fun fact about the Zone in the Tarkovsky movie. It was actually filmed in, I believe, fucking, oh god, which one is it? The one that's the shittiest, XD. It's right next to Ukraine.
Oh, the puppet state.
Yeah.
Oh god, man, it's like 3 a.m. brain. My brain is completely beefing it.
Exactly. But yeah, it was filmed in that country in a nuclear plant, and almost half the crew died of cancer.
Belarus?
Yes.
Oh wow. That's wild.
Tarkovsky himself eventually died of cancer related to it. There was a similar thing that happened with John Wayne, where they filmed some shit in like a place the U.S. Army was testing nukes in Arizona in the 50s. It was actually not even a Western. It was about Genghis Khan, and the movie ended up being like a pretty big failure, like a flop, but it also gave like half the crew cancer.
That's a very costly project. But yeah, so that's all she wrote for me tonight, though. I'm gonna take off.
Alright, man.